Chapter 10-11. Ningqing quickly came to understand that there would definitely not be such a coincidence. Someone was definitely looking for him. Gong Yangdi knew that he could refine the cloud-replenishing pattern bone pill. Gong Yangdi felt that there was no need to hide this matter. Most likely, everyone knew about it now. Cheng Hotian was also his friend, and it just so happened that Cheng Hotian was poisoned by the tattoo bone poison. Even the eternal level cultivators at the edge of the Grand Essence knew about Cheng Hotian's poisoning. As long as he was still in the Grand Essence realm, he would definitely know about it. Cheng Hotian was his friend. What would he do if he knew about this? He would definitely go to the Elixir Association to look for Cheng Hotian, so that he could help him refine the sky-replenishing bone vein pill. Ningqing estimated that after a period of time, the main materials for the heaven-extending vein bone pill would spread out, and would be waiting for him to go back and refine the pill. Who's looking for him? No matter who was looking for him, there was one thing that Ningqing was sure of, that the person looking for him was definitely not someone with good intentions. Two seniors, this junior is working for the Pill Association and inadvertently offended the seniors. Please forgive us. The two eternal cultivators spoke while retreating. Ningqing raised his hand and shot out several lightning arcs. Whether it was because of these two people's intentions towards Yanji, or for his own safety, he had to kill these two people. As for this red-haired Dao transformation cultivator, Ningqing felt a little conflicted. He might not be able to kill the other party. Regarding Ningqing killing two eternal-level cultivators, Ba Meng didn't feel surprised at all. If someone had designs on his Dao companion, he would kill them without hesitation. After Ningqing put away the rings of several eternal cultivators, he looked at Ningqing with a smile and said, "Do you specialize in thunder-attributed cultivation?" Ningqing nodded. "I do not specialize in the thunder attribute, but I do have a thunder spiritual root." "Alright, let's talk about a collaboration. If you accompany me to a place, I will give you a miracle crossing Dao fruit. How about it?" Ba Meng continued to speak with great anticipation. Ningqing felt a little speechless. Not to mention the miraculous crossing Dao fruit, he even had 1 or 2 bottles of miraculous crossing Dao pills in his ring. Duqi Dao fruit was a Dao fruit that allowed Dao molding divine emperors to comprehend Dao nourishment divine emperors, and increase their chances of reaching Dao nourishment divine emperors. This Dao fruit was indeed precious to other Dao molding divine emperors. For Ningqing, it was not much different from garbage. "I'm sorry, but my strength is limited, and I cannot go anywhere with this Dao friend." Ningqing did not hesitate to cup his fists and refuse. Ba Meng didn't seem to expect that Ningqing wouldn't even ask about the place, and would directly reject it. He froze for a moment before speaking up. "Do you think that 1 crossing Qi Dao fruit isn't enough? How about this, you name your conditions?" Ningqing spoke up apologetically. "My strength is limited, so I need to find a place to go into secluded cultivation." Ba Meng's gaze swept over Yanji, who was in the midst of transcending her tribulation. He pondered for a moment before saying, "What you said makes sense. How about this? I have a way to help you advance to the late-stage Dao sculpting realm in a short time." Ningqing sneered in his heart. He was a pill saint, not an idiot. Not to mention advancing to the late-stage Dao modeling in a short time, he could also advance to the Dao birth in a short time. However, this was all based on the premise of ignoring one's foundation and destroying the laws of the Grand Dao. He had the mysterious yellow bead, and had a bright future ahead of him. How could he be so short-sighted? Not interested. Ningqing did not have the patience to slowly find a reason to refuse, and simply directly refused. After rejecting Ba Meng, Ningqing was ready to go all out against Ba Meng. Now that he had advanced to the middle stage Dao sculpting realm, as long as he laid out the proper arrangements, he would most likely be able to kill Ba Meng. But to Ningqing's surprise, Ba Meng did not plan to start. Instead, he took in a deep breath and spoke with a low tone. "Do you know about the Grand Essence in Nether Realm?" Ningqing shook his head. He truly did not know about it. Ba Meng, on seeing that Ningqing did not know about it, simply explained, "After a cultivator falls, as long as their spirit soul does not perish, they can enter the reincarnation cycle. The Grand Essence in Nether Realm is the passageway for cultivators' souls to enter the reincarnation cycle. Unfortunately, I heard that the reincarnation cycle in the Grand Essence E Nether Realm has shattered. Wait. Ningcheng suddenly thought of Sun Hanrui, who had not woken up yet. Sun Hanrui's soul regenerated very slowly, and he could not go back in a short time. He did not know if the Grand Essence E Nether Realm Ba Meng mentioned had anything to do with the graceful star mainland's E Nether Realm. Excuse me. Do the souls of the Grand Essence E Nether Realm enter after the people of the Grand Essence Realm die? Ningcheng saw Ba Meng looking at him and quickly asked. Ba Meng shook his head and said, no, all the interfaces under the Grand Essence Realm, no matter high or low, as long as someone dies, their soul will enter the Grand Essence E Nether Realm and enter the reincarnation cycle. Then, what are the low-level interfaces under the Grand Essence Realm? Ningcheng asked even more nervously. Ba Meng looked at Ningcheng in doubt for a while before explaining. These interfaces are as numerous as the hairs on an ox. Who knows how many there are? When the Grand Essence Realm's laws were perfected, cultivators from the low-level interfaces had to ascend if they wanted to enter the Grand Essence Realm. But now that the Grand Essence Realm's laws have shattered, it's not much better than those low-level starry skies. Many people can use talismans or even teleportation arrays to come and go. Ningcheng suddenly felt a little excited. He increasingly felt that the 4 grand starry skies belong to the low-level interfaces of the Grand Essence Realm, while the graceful star mainland belonged to the low-level interfaces under the 4 grand starry skies. From this, Ningcheng understood that after Sun Hanrui died, her soul would also enter the Grand Essence E Nether Realm. In addition to Sun Hanrui, there was also Yu Qing's delicate and pretty face suddenly appeared in Ningcheng's mind. Maybe he could find Yu Qing's soul again. I have a friend, but she died decades ago. If I go with you, can I find her soul? Ningcheng held back the excitement in his heart and spoke with a trembling voice. Ba Meng sighed and said, although I have to use your lightning arcs to get there, I have to tell you that you can't find her. Why? Ningcheng blurted out. Ba Meng continued. Even though the Grand Essence E Nether Realm's laws have shattered, there are still powerhouses guarding it. We can only stay at the outermost periphery and can't go inside. Your friend died decades ago, and I'm afraid that she has already entered the cycle of reincarnation. Ningcheng's expression suddenly turned dejected. After a moment of silence, he asked, then, can you find her soul if her corporeal body is intact but her soul is gone? Ba Meng nodded to Ningcheng in a dignified manner. This is what I'm asking you for. I only have one son, but he was killed by an enemy. Fortunately, I managed to snatch his corporeal body. Now I have kept his corporeal body for many years. This time, I finally managed to find a 9 nether boundary breaking talisman to enter the Grand Essence E Nether Realm. Therefore, I want to ask you for a favor. I agreed because I still have a friend. After she died, only her corporeal body remained. Her soul could not be restored. Therefore, I want to go with you. I also want to find my friend's soul. Not waiting for Ba Meng to continue persuading, Ningcheng spoke with certainty. Sun Hanrui had taken the 6 soul pill. Therefore, even if she only had a trace of her soul left in the Grand Essence E Nether Realm, she would still be safe and sound. Good. Then let's go to my place first. We can discuss how to do this. Ba Meng on hearing Ningcheng's words felt overjoyed. After that, he turned to Ningcheng and said, I still don't know your name. Ningcheng did not hesitate this time and spoke the truth. My name is Ningcheng. After this matter is over, I'm afraid that Brother Ba Meng will do me a small favor. After Ningcheng finished, he kept an eye on Ba Meng's expression. When he found that Ba Meng's face didn't show any surprised expression, he realized that Ba Meng had stayed in the Grand Essence Sea and didn't know about the big things happening in the Grand Essence Realm. The reason why he knew that Chung Hotian was poisoned was because there were too many people who came to the Grand Essence Sea to look for medicinal herbs. Ba Meng laughed. As long as we can cooperate successfully and save my son, no matter what it is, I will help. Ningcheng didn't reveal that he was a pill sage, nor did he tell Ba Meng what kind of help he could offer. Although Ba Meng looked like a straightforward person, Ningcheng didn't know much about him. He could only come to a conclusion after the two sides completed their cooperation. At this time, Yanji had already finished surmounting her tribulation. She put away all the spirit crystals and landed directly beside Ning Cheng. She then stared at Ba Meng with some caution. Junior apprentice Sister Ji, this is Dao friend Ba Meng. I want to cooperate with him to do something. You can go to the true spirit world to stabilize your cultivation first. Ning Cheng didn't explain about the dark nether realm. Okay. Yan Ji didn't ask anything and directly entered Ning Cheng's true spirit world. She had just advanced to the eternal realm and needed to consolidate her cultivation. If Ba Meng hadn't brought Ning Cheng here, Ning Cheng feared that he wouldn't have found this place in the Grand Essence Sea even if he searched for 10,000 years. Ba Meng lived in the depths of the Grand Essence Sea, and it was a place with very little spiritual qi. Apart from some sea demons, no one would come to this place. Cultivators with low cultivation wouldn't dare to come here. How could holy emperors with high cultivation care about such a place with little spiritual qi? Following Ba Meng into a natural concealment array formation, Ning Cheng secretly sighed after passing through 2 natural concealment array formations and a man-made defensive array formation. Even an array Dao powerhouse, surpassing a high-level spirit array master, couldn't arrange such a natural array formation. Even if he came to this place 100 times, he would only pass by it. Thinking about the concealment teleportation array he had secluded himself in, as well as the natural concealment array formations here, Ning Cheng could only sigh. There were just too many mysterious things in the Grand Essence Sea. Dao friend Ba Meng, this is a good place. Unfortunately, the spiritual qi here is a bit too thin. Before Ning Cheng could finish his words, he opened his mouth wide and looked around in disbelief. Because by the time he finished speaking, he had already stepped into the defensive array. At the same time, he felt an indescribably rich spiritual qi. If it were just rich, Ning Cheng wouldn't have cared about it. Ning Cheng was also a person who had seen the world. But what shocked him even more was that this rich spiritual qi contained complete laws of heaven and earth. In other words, even if one didn't cultivate, one's cultivation would continue to improve while sitting in this place. Good place. Ning Cheng exclaimed. He now understood why Ba Meng dared to say that he could advance to the late stage of speed in a short time. Ba Meng showed a smile. I found this place by chance. Come with me to another place first. Ning Cheng followed behind Ba Meng and felt the spiritual qi around him getting denser and denser, while the laws around him also became clearer. Ning Cheng thought to himself, it seems that if he had a chance, others would also have a chance. After half an incense stick worth of time, Ba Meng made a few hand seals and brought Ning Cheng to a huge pool surrounded by white mist. As soon as Ning Cheng saw this pool, he realized that all the spiritual qi outside came from this place. Instead of spiritual qi, this place was filled with dense spiritual laws and spiritual mist, which contained a powerful law aura. Ba Meng pointed to the mist-covered pool and said, this place is the Grand Essence Dragon Washing Pool, the first of the 5 pools in the Grand Essence Sea. The Sunken Fish Palace's Sunken Fish Ice Pool is nothing compared to this Dragon Washing Pool. When the Grand Essence Sea's laws were complete, the 5-clawed Divine Dragon clan lived here. I heard that once a 5-clawed Divine Dragon was born, it would wash in this Dragon Washing Pool for 100 years. The 5-clawed Divine Dragons that came out of the Dragon Washing Pool were even more powerful. Therefore, the 5-clawed Divine Dragon clan has always been powerful. Unfortunately, no matter how powerful they are, they can't stop the passage of time. Chapter 10-12. What a great place! Ning Cheng looked at the Dragon Cleansing Pool in amazement, and couldn't wait to cultivate here for a few months. If he cultivated here, it wouldn't be impossible for him to reach the late-stage Dao sculpting realm in a short time. Moreover, not only would it not damage his foundation, but it would also bring great benefits to his foundation and potential. Brother Ba Meng, you brought me here, don't tell me. Ning Cheng pointed at the Grand Essence Dragon Cleansing Pool in confusion, and couldn't believe it. If Ba Meng didn't want him to come here to cultivate, why did he bring him here? If this place belonged to him, he wouldn't lend it to others for cultivation. Ba Meng's expression turned solemn, and he looked at Ning Cheng with a serious expression. Dao friend Ning, there are very few thunder-attributed cultivators in the Grand Essence realm, and even fewer can reach the Dao-confirming realm. There are several powerful thunder-attributed holy emperors who come from big sections. They aren't people a rogue cultivator like me can invite. I'm really lucky to have met you. I only have one son. Since I want you to help me sincerely, I will help you sincerely. I believe that my eyes aren't blind, and I won't misjudge you. After that, he sighed, pointed to the Grand Essence Dragon Cleansing Pool and said, I've guarded this place for thousands of years. During these thousands of years, my cultivation has risen sharply, and I'm now a half-step Dao Essence cultivator. Unfortunately, the Dragon Cleansing Pool has limited use for me now. After I save my son Baluo, I will stay here for a few decades. After a few decades, I will leave with Baluo. If you're interested, I can leave this Grand Essence Dragon Cleansing Pool to you. Ningcheng understood that Ba Meng didn't have any fear of him coming here. Not to mention that his cultivation was only at the Dao sculpting realm. Ba Meng's strength far surpassed his. Of course, Ba Meng must have thought that Ba Meng was far stronger than him. Most people wouldn't be willing to tell others about this place just because Ba Meng would leave. There was one more thing. Just like what Ba Meng had said, he needed him to help him sincerely. Many thanks, Dao friend Ba Meng. Even without the Grand Essence Dragon Cleansing Pool, I would still help you. I will now cultivate here. Dao friend Ba Meng, you can go and prepare. Just let me know when you want to leave. After Ningcheng heard the whole story, he straightforwardly agreed to Ba Meng's request. Although he knew that Ningcheng would agree to it, but after Ningcheng gave an affirmative answer, Ba Meng still spoke up in a happy voice. In that case, Dao friend Ning, you can stay here and cultivate. I still have to find 2 friends. This time, a total of 4 of us will enter the Grand Essence in Netherworld. Your junior apprentice sister's cultivation is slightly lower. If your miniature world's laws are ordinary, you can let your junior apprentice sister stay in my mansion. Dao friend Ba Meng, you can go ahead and look for the others. I will stay here and cultivate. My junior apprentice sister will go with me. Ningcheng directly refused. No matter how good this place was, he was not here, so how could he dare to leave Yanji here? Ba Meng also wanted to remind Ningcheng about it, but since Ningcheng refused, he naturally would not continue to talk about this matter. After Ba Meng left, Ningcheng jumped into the dragon washing pool and started cultivating. If he missed such a good opportunity, then he deserved to not be able to improve his cultivation. Ningcheng's mysterious yellow origin had extremely high requirements for resources from the outside world. Moreover, the spirit qi in the dragon washing pool not only contained no impurities, but it also contained rich laws of heaven and earth. With the help of the mysterious yellow origin, Ningcheng felt a carefree feeling that he had never felt before. When he first cultivated in the extraterritorial spirit spring, he had thought that it was the best place for cultivation. But now, the extraterritorial spirit spring couldn't even compare to the dragon washing pool. As Ningcheng absorbed the endless pure laws of spirit qi, more and more spirit qi started to pour into his body. If Ba Meng were here, his jaw would definitely drop. His cultivation caused a lot of commotion, but Ningcheng's cultivation was dozens of times louder than his. Sitting in the dragon washing pool, Ningcheng felt his entire corporeal body gradually fade away, leaving only his essence spirit. Without any hindrance from the corporeal body, the absorption effect of his cultivation soared even higher. The pure aura in the dragon washing pool continuously washed over Ningcheng's body. Ningcheng's body, which originally had no impurities, became even more spotless. His cultivation aura continued to rise and rise. Spirit essence flowed around Ningcheng like a raging river. At the same time, Ningcheng also swallowed the Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills. Ningcheng's sea of consciousness and spirit essence continued to grow. As time passed, Ningcheng couldn't even feel his corporeal body, let alone the passage of time. For most people, it would take hundreds of years to advance from the middle stage Dao sculpting to the late stage Dao sculpting, no matter how many cultivation resources one had. No matter how good one's aptitude or how many resources one had, it would still take dozens or even hundreds of years. Yet, in just a few months, he had already stepped into the late-stage Dao sculpting realm. From this, it could be seen how powerful the combination of the mysterious yellow origin aura and the dragon washing pool was under the effect of the mysterious yellow formless. After entering the late-stage Dao sculpting realm, Ning Cheng's cultivation speed finally slowed down due to the obstruction of his understanding of the Dao of returning to one. Ning Cheng knew that in addition to the obstruction of his understanding of the Dao, the special effect of the combination of the mysterious yellow origin and the dragon washing pool had also passed, causing it to enter a stable period. Even if it was a stable period, the progress of one's cultivation was much faster than using spirit crystals to cultivate. Constant caw-caw sounds came from within his body, and Ning Cheng almost moaned out loud. This kind of cultivation really made him happy. Not knowing how much time had passed, Ning Cheng suddenly noticed that the bones in his body had begun to reorganize again, radiating with a new aura of laws. The mysterious yellow body forging method also began to run automatically and began to correct itself. Ning Cheng almost stood up from the dragon washing pool in shock. After his body forging cultivation method reached the full circle of the starry sky body, it had completely stopped because there was no further cultivation method. Did it want to correct his body forging cultivation method? At this moment, Ning Cheng couldn't care about the continuous improvement of his cultivation. Instead, he focused all his attention on the correction of the body forging cultivation method. Ning Cheng finally understood the origin and purpose of the dragon cleansing pool. The true meaning of the dragon washing pool was not for cultivation, but for tempering one's body. No wonder the legendary five-clawed divine dragons were so powerful that their corporeal bodies could even tear through the void. It turned out that the dragon washing pool played a huge part in it. As Ning Cheng's body forging cultivation method continued to improve, Ning Cheng's body forging cultivation method progressed from full circle starry sky body to late stage starry sky body, and then to middle stage starry sky body. Ning Cheng's senses were not wrong. Although his body forging strength was declining, his physical strength was growing stronger and stronger. This meant that his previous body forging cultivation method was simply garbage. The reason why it was garbage was that it matched his corporeal body's skeleton, not because the mysterious yellow formless was garbage. Now that he had cleansed his body, bones, and even his meridians in the dragon cleansing pool, his body had become even stronger. Only a new body tempering cultivation technique was suitable for him. Because of this, as he continued to temper his body in the dragon cleansing pool, his body tempering level was declining instead. Kacha. Just like a mold solidifying, all the bones in Ning Cheng's body made a final kacha sound before finally stabilizing. At the same time, Ning Cheng's body forging rank dropped to the early stage starry sky body. At this time, Ning Cheng circulated the new body forging cultivation method without any scruples. His corporeal body grew stronger once again. Middle stage starry sky body, late stage. Although he couldn't return to the full circle of his starry sky body, Ning Cheng felt satisfied. As long as he continued to find a place to temper his body, his corporeal body would surpass the starry sky body. Originally, Ning Cheng had no idea about the body forging ranks after the starry sky body. But now he knew that beyond the starry sky body was the spirit body. This really was a good place, but unfortunately, Yanji's current strength was still too low, and was unable to cultivate in this place. In the future, he must bring Yanji here for cultivation. It would be best if he could bring Ruolin and Luofei here for cultivation. Just as Ning Cheng thought of this with a refreshed mind, he received a message from Ba Meng. Ba Meng asked him to meet up on an island a million miles away. The dragon cleansing pool was Ba Meng's secret. Since he planned to give the dragon cleansing pool to Ning Cheng, he naturally couldn't bring anyone else in. Despite his reluctance, Ning Cheng still flew out of the dragon cleansing pool. After tidying up a bit, he left the dragon cleansing pool. For Ning Cheng, a distance of 1,000,000 miles didn't take much time. Ning Cheng hadn't even reached the island Ba Meng mentioned when his spiritual consciousness swept over, and found Ba Meng talking to a man and a woman on the reef island. When Ba Meng saw Ning Cheng land on the island, he felt secretly shocked. He had only gone out for half a year. Yet Ning Cheng's strength had advanced from middle-stage Dao sculpting to late-stage Dao sculpting. From this, he understood that Ning Cheng's cultivation qualifications far surpassed his. Dao friend Ning. These two are Grand Essence C's Green Lady Ji Maitao and Dao friend Xiu Yueni. Ba Meng introduced the man and woman to Ning Cheng with a smile. After the introductions, he turned to the two and said, He's the Ning Cheng I mentioned to you. He cultivates a thunder-attributed cultivation. Ning Cheng had told Ba Meng that he didn't specialize in thunder-attributed cultivation. But since Ba Meng introduced him like this, Ning Cheng didn't explain. Qiu Yuanyi had black hair and a late-stage Dao transformation cultivation. He looked elegant and refined, but his eyes looked a bit erratic. Green Lady Ji Maitao had a petite figure, but her curves were proud and provocative. She exuded a seductive aura from head to toe. Seeing Ning Cheng's gaze sweep over, she deliberately made a seductive look at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng sighed. He finally understood the difference between a chicken and a phoenix. Lu Fenglin's charm was completely natural. She didn't need to act pretentious to attract people. But this green lady, in addition to acting pretentious, was just pretentious. Ba Meng's friends all had their own characteristics. Green lady, your eyes usually grow on your forehead. Why are you so eager for a Dao sculpting cultivator today? Qiu Yuanyi chuckled and looked at Green Lady. Green Lady gave him a blank look, but still looked at Ning Cheng and said, I feel that this Dao friend Ning is very pleasing to the eye. I want to get in touch with him. What's wrong? Can't I? After that, she took the initiative to say to Ning Cheng, there aren't many thunder-attributed experts now. In the Dark Nether realm, thunder-attributed attacks are the most important. We have to rely on you. When Green Lady saw him, her eyes flashed with a hint of eagerness. Ning Cheng guessed that this Green Lady might have recognized him as Dao Essence Pill Sage Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng didn't care about it. After all, Green Lady was just a full-stage Dao transformation cultivator. If she wanted his help in alchemy, he could help her as long as the conditions were right. But if she wanted to hit on him, then she could only blame herself for being stupid. Ba Meng laughed. Since everyone is here, let's discuss it and get ready to set off. Chapter 10-13. Seeing Green Lady start to tease him again, Ning Cheng couldn't help but feel annoyed. He spoke up helplessly. Green Lady, if you want to ask me for help, then let's set the price clearly, just like the Void Star sect. But if it's something else, I'm sorry but I'm not interested. The surroundings were filled with gray gravel, without even the slightest bit of vitality or spirit chi. Apart from some spiritless souls drifting about in the surroundings, there wasn't even a soul that could move on its own. There was no water, no sky, and no living creatures. The whole world only had a monotonous gray, with some occasional grayish-white or grayish-black. Ba Meng didn't answer, but Qiu Yuanyi and Green Lady cupped their fists and said, Red-haired, we'll leave first. We'll meet here again in a month. The long passage seemed to have no end. Apart from the countless Yin souls around, there was also the endless Yin astral law power. Fortunately, this power had little effect on the few of them. After that, Ba Meng carefully moved forward again and said, there are thousands of such soul bridges in the Grand Essence Yin Netherworld, but there is only one. Our cultivation is limited, so we can only stay outside the soul bridge. Don't cross the bridge. Once you cross the bridge, you will most likely die here. Here, his spiritual consciousness could move unimpeded. Unfortunately, no matter how far his spiritual consciousness swept, the scene he saw was the same. Ba Meng didn't continue and just shook his head. Obviously, Ba Meng thought that these two people couldn't find the 6 Yin fruit here. Apart from entering the Grand Essence Yin Netherworld with the 9 Nether boundary breaking talisman, he also had to help Ba Meng clear the Yin Qi in Ba Luo's soul. Among the 4, Ba Meng was the initiator, and had a top-grade 9 Nether boundary breaking talisman. Only he could open the passage to the Dark Nether world and enter. His main purpose was naturally to save his son, Ba Luo. If the soul stayed in the broken Dark Nether world for a long time, it would be covered with a layer of Yin Nether Qi. If this kind of bad luck was not cleared in time, even if Ba Luo woke up, he would be muddle-headed. In the best-case scenario, his cultivation aptitude would decline. The reason Ba Meng had found Qiu Yuanyi and Lady Green was that the 9 Nether plane-breaking talisman and thunder streaks were not enough to enter the Netherworld realm. Several Dao transformation realm experts were also needed. Ning Cheng was only a Dao molding divine emperor. If Ning Cheng was a Dao actualization divine emperor, then Ba Meng would just have to find another person. Ba Meng spoke up in a deep voice. This place can only be said to be the outermost periphery of the grand essence in nether world. We have yet to enter the grand essence in nether world. With our cultivation, even if the grand essence in nether world's laws shatter, we wouldn't be able to enter. As soon as you enter, you'll be suppressed. In the worst case, you'll be teleported away. In the worst case, you'll be crushed into a soul. Come on, let's go summon the soul. We can't enter the real dark nether realm with our cultivation, but we can summon souls at the edge of the dark nether realm. As long as my son's soul is still there, he will be able to feel his own body. After Ba Meng finished speaking, he took a step forward. Let's do it. Ba Meng roared. His hands had already gathered endless spirit essence power, and tore at the crack. Half a day later, Ba Meng stopped and said, I'm going to use the 9 nether plane breaking talisman now. Once I use the 9 nether plane breaking talisman, countless Een souls will rush over. These Een souls are very weak, but I'm afraid that there are too many of them. Once there are too many, the 9 nether plane breaking talisman would fail. Ba Meng shook his head. I'm afraid that very few people know where the entrance to the grand essence in nether world is, except for some primordial chaos experts. This place has the densest Een chi, so it should be the easiest place to activate the 9 nether plane breaking talisman. Moreover, no one will come here, so no one will disturb us. Ningqing followed behind Ba Meng. The two of them walked for a few days before they stopped in front of a stone arch bridge that was faintly discernible. The aura of the laws finally erupted, tearing a pitch-black crack in the void. A long passage finally appeared under the joint efforts of the few people. Ba Meng was the first to rush in, and Ningqing also rushed in. At the same time he asked, Dao friend Ba, how do we come out after we finish? As soon as Ningqing arrived, he felt the dense Een chi. This barren land was filled with white bones, and in the depths of the barren land, there were some low-level Een souls howling. Then how do we find the souls? Ningqing asked in doubt. At the same time, Qiu Yuanyi and Green Lady also made their moves. After Ba Meng explained to Ningqing, he raised his hand and waved out an ice jade stone bed. A young and robust man lay on the stone bed. Just like Ba Meng, he also had red hair. Red hair, let's do it. Qiu Yuanyi, on seeing Ningqing not even know about this, felt some contempt in his heart. Even ordinary cultivators knew about this truth. Ningqing was also a late-stage Dao sculpting holy emperor. Ba Meng shook his head and said, This is not the bridge of coping, but the bridge that connects souls to the Een nether world. It's called the Soul Crossing Bridge. The first bridge of coping you mentioned is the first bridge of the 7 bridges spirit technique. It has nothing to do with this. After a person dies, as long as the soul can come to the Een nether world, it will involuntarily approach this bridge. Only the soul that passes through this bridge will have a chance to enter the reincarnation passage. The souls we saw before were all souls that had no chance of reincarnation. Boom boom boom. Under the lightning arcs, the Een souls that swarmed towards the 9 nether boundary splitting talisman quickly turned into flying ashes. More Een souls felt the aura of the thunder source and fled in horror. Okay. Ba Meng raised his hand and waved out piles of spirit crystals to arrange a spiritual gathering array around them. No one raised any objections. Ba Meng then took out a palm-sized black talisman. As soon as he took out the talisman, Ningqing immediately sensed a powerful law force coming from it. Ningqing secretly marveled in his heart. He had no idea what kind of person could refine such a talisman. Green Lady, who followed behind, smiled and sent a sound transmission to Ningqing. Pill Sage Ning is so good at alchemy, but you know so little about talismans. When you have time, come to my immortal cave. I will teach you slowly. Ningqing secretly thought that in the face of such Een souls, if he didn't use lightning arcs and use the 7 bridges spirit technique, it would definitely be more effective. Qiu Yuanyi and Green Lady also helped from the side. Ningqing could see that these people's attainments in the Tao of array formations were quite average. They weren't even the worst low-level spirit array masters. Ningqing knew about the 6 Een soul fruit. He had refined a batch of 6 Een soul pills for Silver Dragon Clan's Gong Huayu, and used the 6 Een soul pills. Moreover, he still had 2 6 Een soul pills on him. Because Ba Meng intended to give him the dragon cleansing pond, He was also prepared to give a 6-in soul pill to Ba Meng if Ba Luo couldn't find his soul. This woman really knew about him. Ning Qing didn't answer Green Lady's words. Okay. Ba Meng cupped his fists and sent the two away. Then he said to Ning Qing, they came here to look for the 6-in fruit. This Dao fruit is very important for reaching the Dao essence realm. But with their cultivation, if they want to find the 6-in fruit here. This is my son Ba Luo. His corporeal body is here. As long as his soul still exists, it will take the initiative to come here. At that time, I will need your help. As long as his soul comes here, remember to use lightning arcs to wash away the yin nether chi covering his soul. Ba Meng looked at Ning Qing sincerely. He had never seen a powerful talisman crafting expert. The only talisman crafting expert he had heard of was Fu Lai, who Tsangwei spoke of. Xiao Yuanyi and Green Lady most likely wanted to go to the dark nether realm to find something. As for what they were looking for, the two didn't say it. Ning Qing also didn't know. Ning Qing knew that it was time for him to make his move. He didn't hesitate to bring out lightning arcs. Ning Qing didn't specialize in lightning arcs, so his lightning arcs weren't strong. But even if they weren't strong, Ning Qing was still a Dao molding divine emperor. Therefore, these lightning arcs still contain some of the laws of heaven and earth. This is the dark nether realm? Ning Qing spoke and swept out with his spiritual sense. Even if the laws of the dark nether realm were broken, it wasn't easy to enter the dark nether realm. Breaking the dark nether realm required not only the 9 nether boundary breaking talisman, but also the power of the laws of heaven and earth. Ning Qing was a Dao molding divine emperor, so his lightning arcs naturally contain the power of laws. The 9 nether boundary breaking talisman activated in Ba Meng's hand, and turned into a pitch-black power of laws of heaven and earth that blasted into the void. This power of laws didn't spread out. Instead, it became more and more condensed after blasting out. The further it went, the more terrifying the aura of laws became. He didn't plan to help. It was just an ordinary spirit gathering array. This spirit gathering array was just to help the 9 nether boundary breaking talisman activate better. He didn't need to do anything. Okay, I was waiting for you to say that. Green Lady chuckled. After we get out, I will definitely give you a satisfactory reward. Is this the entrance to the Grand Essence Dark Nether Realm? Ning Qing asked in doubt. Ba Meng said helplessly, the 9 nether boundary breaking talisman comes in pairs, one in and one out. Otherwise, who would dare to buy this? Bang! The sound of Ba Meng's feet landing on the ground rang out. Ning Qing and the others also landed on the ground. First bridge of coping? Ning Qing cried out. This stone arch bridge had a pale color. If it wasn't the bridge of coping, then what was it? Although he hadn't set foot on the soul bridge yet, Ning Qing could already feel the powerful push from the laws. While resisting the push from the laws, he could also feel the netherworld laws. After hearing Ba Meng's words, Ning Qing quickly spoke up. Of course, there's no problem. Dao friend Ba Meng, you can rest assured. Ba Meng led the way, while Green Lady continued to tease Ning Qing along the way. However, Ning Qing didn't show any other expression other than Green Lady, on seeing that Ning Qing didn't seem to have much interest in her, tactfully closed her mouth. Seeing Ning Qing not speaking, Green Lady deliberately sped up and arrived at Ning Qing's side. Once again, she sent out a sound transmission. Although that Lu Fonglin has a charm body, I cultivate a charm technique. If we talk about that alone, I'm not any worse than her. If you don't believe me, you can try it. Dao friend Ning, when you see these Yin souls rushing towards the 9 nether boundary breaking talisman, immediately bring out the lightning arcs to help. Xiao Yuanyi and Green Lady will work together with me. With the help of the 9 nether boundary breaking talisman, let's tear it open. Innumerable soul shadows rushed out from the pitch-black crack, rushing towards the 9 netherworld shattering talisman without exception. Chapter 10:14. A corporeal body without Yin souls appeared at the head of the soul crossing bridge, causing endless Yin souls to swarm towards it. These souls acted completely on instinct. They could feel that this body wanted to occupy it. However, these Yin souls were all killed by Ba Meng without exception. Seeing Ning Qing not moving, Ba Meng spoke up. You can do the same as me. As long as your friend's spiritual soul is still in the dark nether realm, there is a 50% chance of saving her. Ningqing nodded and raised his hand to send out Sun Hanrui, who seemed to be in a deep sleep. Did she take the 16 soul pill? Ba Meng, on seeing Sun Hanrui, stared at Ningqing in disbelief. Ningqing nodded. Yes, I gave her a 16 soul pill, but she did not wake up. Then you should quickly take it back. The 16 soul pill is like reincarnation. As long as her corporeal body is still there, after taking the 16 soul pill, she might be able to wake up completely, even without any damage to her memory or cultivation. If her soul is still recovering, it would not be good for you to put her here to summon her soul. If you are worried that she will wake up slowly, you can put her in the place where she fell to recover. Ba Meng was shocked that Ningqing could obtain the 16 soul pill, but he still explained it in detail. Why not? Ningqing did not understand. Ba Meng was just about to answer, when suddenly the Yin souls on the soul crossing bridge started to riot. The Yin souls that were swarming over seemed to have been hit by firecrackers, as they fled in all directions, and even issued a burst of ear-piercing screeches. My son Ba Luo is inside. Ba Meng screamed, as he put away Ba Luo's corporeal body, and rushed towards the soul crossing bridge. He had already forgotten about the matter of not going to the soul crossing bridge with Ningqing. Ningqing quickly put away Sun Hanrui. He also saw a Yin soul that was vaguely similar to Ba Luo, but this Yin soul was attacked by many Yin souls, and finally almost collapsed. Ningqing had just reacted, when Ba Meng was engulfed by the endless Yin souls on the soul crossing bridge. Ningqing's spiritual consciousness could barely see Ba Meng's shadow among the endless Yin souls. Ba Meng was in danger, Ningqing had just thought until here, when he saw a huge black mouth rolling over. The Yin souls on the bridge suddenly decreased by half, but in just a moment, these Yin souls were filled with even more Yin souls. Ningqing took in a deep breath. He did not know what this giant mouth was, but he immediately thought of the burial shadow demon. If Ba Meng was swallowed by this huge mouth, he would definitely die. In any case, he was indebted to Ba Meng. If it weren't for Ba Meng, his cultivation would never have been able to advance to the late-stage Dao modeling in such a short time. Besides, they were still in a team. Seeing that Ba Meng was in danger, Ningqing did not hesitate to rush over to the soul crossing bridge. He knew very well why Ba Meng was unable to resist. Ba Meng himself had said that once he crossed the soul bridge, his cultivation would be greatly suppressed. Ba Meng was already very lucky that he was not crushed into pieces or teleported away. First bridge of coping. Landing on the soul crossing bridge, Ningqing brought out the first bridge of coping just as the overwhelming law pressure came crashing down. This time he didn't even bring out the 7 Bridges Realm book. Who knew what would happen in this place? If something happened and he lost the 7 Bridges Realm book, it would truly be depressing. As soon as he brought out the first bridge of coping, the endless Yin souls seemed to have found an organization, and frantically rushed towards the first bridge of coping. Violent nether winds also swept towards the first bridge of coping, mixing with the first bridge of coping's original nether wind and blood river. After the first bridge of coping swallowed the endless nether winds and Yin souls, it didn't weaken. Instead, it strengthened. Ningqing suddenly felt an impulse in his heart. How long would it take him to condense the 7 Bridges spirit technique in the nether dark realm? This place seemed much better than the burial shadow blue sand. Once he successfully condensed the 7 Bridges spirit technique, he might not even need to bring out the 5-colored star splitter arrow to kill someone like Ding Si. Crack. Before Ningqing could finish his fantasies, the majestic law aura slammed into Ningqing's body. Even if Ningqing was a body-forging cultivator, he could feel his bones starting to break. At this moment, Ningqing couldn't care about anything else. He grabbed Ba Meng, who was struggling at the bridge's head, and retreated frantically. As soon as they left the soul bridge, the powerful law suppression instantly weakened. Ba Meng's strength recovered, and he fell to the ground and stared at Ningqing blankly. You have a Dao sculpting cultivation, yet you managed to safely retreat from the soul crossing bridge, and even saved me? That spirit technique you just used, was it the first bridge of coping of the 7 bridges? Ningqing nodded. In his heart, he was thinking about the feasibility of perfecting the 7 Bridges spirit technique on the soul crossing bridge, and at the same time how dangerous it would be. Ba Meng apparently didn't want to understand it further. After asking Ning Qing a question, he looked at the soul-crossing bridge in a daze and muttered, "It's useless. With such a powerful soul cultivator here, Ba Luo's soul has already dissipated. Even if it condenses again, it wouldn't have any consciousness." "Soul cultivator?" Ning Qing asked with a frown. Ba Meng didn't answer Ning Qing's words. He remained silent for a few minutes before returning to his senses and speaking to Ning Qing. "Yes, a soul cultivator. When the Nether Dark Realm's laws were perfected, once these soul cultivators reached a certain level and didn't reincarnate, they would be squeezed into nothingness by the laws. But now that the Nether Dark Realm's laws have shattered, more and more powerful soul cultivators have appeared. The one we saw just now is one of them. They devour souls to grow. And the further they grow, the lower their consciousness becomes, but the more powerful they become." Looking at Ba Meng's dazed look, Ning Qing took out a jade bottle and handed it to Ba Meng. "Dao friend Ba Meng, I'm indebted to you for giving me the dragon cleansing pool. I'll give you this medicinal pill in return." Ba Meng subconsciously took the jade bottle. Only when he held the jade bottle in his hands did he react. He didn't even open the jade bottle before returning it to Ning Qing. "Dao friend Ning, many thanks. I don't have any use for this medicinal pill now. I, Ba Meng, have lived on the edge of the Grand Essence Sea for so many years. Although I lost my son, it doesn't mean that I'm going to suffer a blow." Ning Qing showed a faint smile. "Dao friend Ba Meng, I know. I suggest you open the jade bottle and have a look. If it really doesn't have any use for you, you can return it to me." Ba Meng opened the jade bottle in doubt, and then exclaimed in shock, "Is this a 16 soul pill, or a top-quality one? How can you have this? By the way, your friend also took the 16 soul pill." Ba Meng clenched the jade bottle with both hands. His heart was already filled with ecstasy, and even his words became incoherent. "Is this medicinal pill useful to you?" Although Ba Meng didn't give him the dragon cleansing pool, Ning Qing still felt grateful in his heart. After this matter, he felt confident that he could take another step forward through the dragon cleansing pool. Ba Meng bowed to Ning Qing. "Dao friend Ning, you just saved my life, and now you've saved my son's life. This great kindness, I, Ba Meng, really don't know how to repay it." Ning Qing patted Ba Meng's shoulder. "You gave me the dragon cleansing pool, which is much more valuable than a 16 soul pill." Ba Meng spoke up with some embarrassment. "Dao friend Ning, you know, even if I didn't give you the dragon cleansing pool, I can't take it away." "But I owe you a favor." Ning Qing spoke with caution. "Okay." Ba Meng carefully put away the 16 soul pill, took out a spiritual sense jade strip and handed it to Ning Qing. "Dao friend Ning, if you need this Ba Meng's help in the future, no matter where I am, I will not refuse. Also, after we go out this time, I will not return to the dragon cleansing pool. That place will belong to you from now on." Ning Qing felt very satisfied. There was still more than a year before the 5 Realms pill competition. With the help of the dragon cleansing pool, maybe he could take another step forward in his cultivation. "Dao friend Ning, let's leave this place. There are still some dangers before crossing the soul bridge, and our strength is still too low." Ba Meng had long since revived, and his mood had also turned cheerful. Ning Qing smiled. "Dao friend Ba Meng, you should leave first. Wait for me at the place where the boundary breaks. I can perfect my first bridge here. Once I finish perfecting it, I will immediately come back." Ba Meng, who had seen Ning Qing's first bridge before, nodded. "Then you have to be careful. You can stay at the front of the soul crossing bridge, but don't go in." After watching Ba Meng leave, Ning Qing once again carefully stepped onto the soul crossing bridge. The first time was to save Ba Meng, and this time, he wanted to perfect the 7 bridges spirit technique. As soon as he stepped onto the soul crossing bridge, a horrifying power of laws rumbled over. Ning Qing had long since prepared for it. The moment he brought out the first bridge of coping, he immediately started to operate the body forging cultivation method. The horrifying underworld laws crushed down, and under the operation of Ning Qing's cultivation method, it instantly transformed into his physical strength. Ning Qing was pleasantly surprised to find that using the crushing power of laws to temper his body was much more effective than using the volcano or thunder tribulation to temper his body. Sure enough, Invisible forces had a much better effect than physical force. Ning Cheng simply regarded the straightforward body forging of the flame thunder tribulation as a physical body forging. Ning Cheng didn't have time to savor this joy when the endless Yin spirits rushed over. First bridge of coping start. Ning Cheng didn't come here to temper his body. He came here to perfect the 7 bridges spirit technique. When these Yin spirits swarmed into the first bridge of coping, Ning Cheng brought out the second bridge of looking home, the third bridge of forgetting river, and the fourth bridge of yellow springs. The first 3 bridges had already started to solidify, and the fourth bridge of yellow springs also started to solidify rapidly after the endless Yin spirits and Yin Qi poured into it. Not only that, but Ning Cheng also found that the underworld laws of heaven and earth had a similar solidifying effect on his 7 bridges. They both condensed the 7 bridges' divine art. Because this place had the laws of the underworld, it was countless times better than the burial shadow blue sand. Under the Tao charm of the 4 bridges, Ning Cheng felt less and less pressure. This wouldn't do. In addition to perfecting the 7 bridges, he also came here to temper his body. Ning Cheng deliberately took a few more steps forward. A sharp edge silently pierced into Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness. Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness paused for a moment. The next moment, Ning Cheng realized that he had fallen into a trap. Boom. Kaka. Ning Cheng had just realized that he had fallen into a trap when the first bridge of coping shattered under an extremely cold and gloomy law force. At the same time, the law force pressing down on his body suddenly increased in strength. Kacha kacha. Even if Ning Cheng tried to be careful, his bones still broke inch by inch, and an arrow of blood spurted out. Chapter 10:15. It was the soul cultivator. When his sea of consciousness suffered a sneak attack from the Yin soul thorn, Ning Cheng immediately understood the reason behind it. He was the soul cultivator Ba Meng had told him about. He hadn't seen him on the soul bridge before, and had assumed that he wouldn't show up on the other side of the soul bridge. He hadn't expected the soul cultivator to be so smart that he knew how to sneak up on him. Sure enough, the everlasting blue thunder fort in Ning Cheng's sea of consciousness had just blocked the Yin soul sting, when a shadow immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. It did not use any magical techniques or spiritual techniques, just a simple movement towards Ning Cheng. It was just a simple movement, but it made Ning Cheng gasp for breath. It wasn't the coercion that was powerful, but the rule pressure brought by this shadow. Ning Cheng felt shocked in his heart. This soul cultivator's use of the dark nether realm's laws shocked him. If he could use the laws to suppress his opponent like this shadow, why would he need to master any sacred art? He could just use the laws to go over. The first bridge of coping had shattered, while the second bridge of homesickness had been bound. Fortunately, his third bridge of forgetfulness hadn't been suppressed yet. Third Forgotten River Bridge. Ning Cheng directly swept up the third Forgotten River Bridge. The bridge of the river of forgetfulness is a long journey. When you come, the river of forgetfulness will disappear. The grayish misty bridge swept up the dense Tao rime of the river of forgetfulness. The Tao rime rolled up and directly swept the soul cultivator, who was pouncing over to the bridgehead. Before the bridge of forgetfulness could fully form, the soul cultivator was stuck on the bridge for only a moment, then began to struggle madly. The river of forgetfulness bridge, which had not fully solidified, began to shake. The misty fog of the river of forgetfulness gradually thinned. Ning Cheng took advantage of this moment, and drove out the Yin soul sting from his sea of consciousness. Before the soul cultivator could leave the bridge of forgetfulness, Yang Qi activated the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge. Ning Cheng only had a vague outline of the Yellow Springs Bridge. However, Ning Cheng believed that it would be difficult to kill this soul cultivator without using the Yellow Springs Bridge. One of the benefits of using the Yellow Springs Bridge in the Dark Nether Realm was that one could borrow the violent Yin Qi here, and the laws of the Dark Nether Realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to summon the Yellow Springs Bridge. The Yellow Springs Bridge quickly absorbed the laws of the Dark Nether Realm, and the billowing Netherwind aura, under Ning Cheng's deliberate control, swept into the Yellow Springs Bridge. The Yellow Springs Bridge was set up in an instant, and a yellow, rolling river became clear. This yellow, rolling river slowly wrapped around the Yellow Springs Bridge. The green body of the Yellow Springs Bridge was slowly revealed at this moment. Streams of Yellow Springs Taoist rhymes circled around the bridge and the Yellow River. Even if Ning Cheng brought out the Yellow Springs Bridge, Ning Cheng couldn't control it now. This bridge's power of laws didn't come from his spirit technique laws, nor was it from the Seven Bridges Realm book. Instead, it drew support from the underworld realm's laws of heaven and earth. Boom! The soul cultivator broke free from Ning Cheng's incomplete third forgetting river bridge. Before the soul cultivator could recover, the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge covered him. In the boundless Yellow Springs, there is no good or evil. The soul turns to dust, the spirit is lost. The surging Yellow Springs Taoist rhymes and the Yellow River that wrapped around the Yellow Springs Bridge roared at this moment. The soul cultivator who charged into the Yellow Springs Bridge didn't even have the strength to resist before he was swept away by the terrifying Taoist rhymes and disappeared into the roaring Yellow River. Sitting on the ground, Ning Cheng stared blankly at the roaring Yellow Springs Bridge suspended in the sky, feeling a chill in his heart. Ning Cheng had seen with his own eyes how terrifying that soul cultivator was. Even his third forgetting river bridge couldn't stop it. Ning Cheng didn't expect that the soul cultivator would die in the blink of an eye after rushing into the Yellow Springs Bridge. Was the Yellow Springs Bridge this powerful? If Ning Cheng truly felt that the Yellow Springs Bridge was this powerful, then it wouldn't have mattered. But Ning Cheng found that even he couldn't control the Yellow Springs Bridge now. After devouring a powerful soul cultivator, the Yellow Springs Bridge's green body became even clearer, and the Yellow River that wrapped around the Yellow Springs Bridge grew even more majestic. The Taoist rhyme aura and the power of laws swirled together like a roaring flood. No matter how many Een souls there were, no matter how many Een winds there were, all of them were swept away by the Yellow Springs Bridge. Ning Cheng felt a chill in his heart, because he couldn't control his spirit technique. At this moment, the Yellow Springs Bridge wasn't condensed by his own strength. Instead, it was formed by the Underworld Realm's laws, and the Underworld Realm's endless Een souls and Een chi. Fortunately, most of the power of laws had been swept away by the Yellow Springs Bridge, which greatly reduced the pressure on Ning Cheng. He endured the pain and swallowed a healing pill. He couldn't let the Yellow Springs Bridge go out of control. The reason why he could bring out the Yellow Springs Bridge was because of the Seven Bridges Realm book. Once the Yellow Springs Bridge went out of control, the Seven Bridges Realm book might disappear. At that time, even his life might be in danger. Under the surging Tao charm of the Yellow Springs Bridge, Ning Cheng's cracked bones gradually recovered. Ning Cheng carefully put away the Futility Bridge, Looking Home Bridge and Forgetting River Bridge. He then focused all his energy on the Yellow Springs Bridge. After devouring a large number of Een souls and laws, the Yellow Springs Bridge grew stronger and more solid. Ning Cheng sat motionless and carefully integrated his spiritual sense into the Yellow Springs Bridge. He wanted to take control of the Yellow Springs Bridge again. The underworld laws finally overflowed from the Yellow Springs Bridge and fell on Ning Cheng. At first, the laws were weak, but they grew stronger and stronger. Ning Cheng not only wanted to integrate his spiritual sense into the Yellow Springs Bridge, but he also wanted to forcibly transform the strengthened laws into his own body-forging strength. Perhaps only Ning Cheng could use the laws of heaven and earth to suppress one's body forging. Ning Cheng's body grew stronger and stronger. But even so, Ning Cheng still couldn't resist the violent increase in the pressure of the laws of heaven and earth. Crack! When Ning Cheng advanced to the full circle of the starry sky body, his bones once again crushed into pieces. Although his body-forging body advanced, the damage to his body kept increasing. He couldn't let this continue. If this continued, he might end up being crushed into meat paste. Ning Cheng no longer cared about the Yellow Springs Bridge. He suddenly opened his eyes. Even without the Yellow Springs Bridge, he couldn't go on like this. But when Ning Cheng opened his eyes, he suddenly froze. He wasn't on the Soul Bridge at all. Instead, he was in a gray world. He sat on the Yellow Springs Bridge. The Yellow Springs Bridge was wrapped in a huge yellow river, and slowly moved towards the depths of this gray world. Ning Cheng's face instantly turned pale. No wonder his body grew stronger and stronger, but the pressure he felt grew stronger. He had already left the Soul Bridge and entered the depths of the Nether Shadow Realm. If not for the Yellow Springs Bridge blocking his head, the terrifying laws would have already killed him. Retreat! Hurry up and retreat. Ningcheng frantically ordered the Yellow Springs Bridge to retreat. However, the Yellow Springs Bridge continued to slowly enter the depths of the Nether Shadow Realm. Ningcheng's face turned blue. His spiritual consciousness swept out and grabbed the Seven Bridges Realm book suspended in the air. Then he pressed his hand on the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge and pressed his spiritual consciousness over. The uncontrollable Yellow Springs Bridge finally stopped under his control. At least, it didn't continue to move deeper. Ningcheng breathed a sigh of relief. The dark Nether Spirit Devourer immediately surrounded the Yellow Springs Bridge. At the same time, his entire consciousness fell on the Yellow Springs Bridge. The reason he couldn't control the Yellow Springs Bridge wasn't because of others, but because his strength was too low. He forcibly brought out the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge. As a result, the Yellow Springs Bridge went beyond his control with the help of the Nether Shadow Realm's law power. If Ningcheng didn't take control measures, the Yellow Springs Bridge he brought out would merge with the entire Nether Shadow Realm and disappear. As for Ningcheng, he would only turn into a puddle of flesh and eventually disappear. As time passed by in Ningcheng's crazy struggle for control, Ningcheng slowly ground away the law power pulling the Yellow Springs Bridge. At the same time, the Yellow Springs Bridge also slowly eased under Ningcheng's struggle. The tumbling Yellow River also gradually calmed down. Although the Siam Bridge grew clearer and clearer, it also grew softer and softer, no longer as violent as before. Ningcheng sighed, and the Yellow Springs Bridge quietly floated over his head. The Yellow River wrapped around the Yellow Springs Bridge no longer roared and tumbled. Ningcheng once again blocked the Nether Shadow Realm's law power, and Ningcheng's broken bones slowly reassembled. With his starry sky body reaching perfection, the Yellow Springs Bridge completely solidified. Ningcheng suddenly stood up, his heart filled with joy. Because he had brought out the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge without knowing its depth, the Nether Shadow Realm's law power almost killed him. Fortunately, he managed to regain the Yellow Springs Bridge with his powerful Sea of Consciousness and the Dark Nether Spirit Devourer. At the same time, his body forging once again reached perfection of the starry sky body. The Grand Essence Dragon Washing Pond truly lived up to its reputation. If he hadn't bathed in the Grand Essence Dragon Washing Pond for a while, Ningcheng wasn't sure if he could withstand the law pressure. Although the law pressure was still very strong, he could barely survive with the help of the Yellow Springs Bridge. Ningcheng stepped off the Yellow Springs Bridge and let the Yellow Springs Bridge float over his head before carefully retreating. He didn't dare to put away the Yellow Springs Bridge. With his current cultivation, if he put away the Yellow Springs Bridge, the powerful laws of the Grand Essence in Nether Realm would immediately crush him into slag. As for condensing the fifth Reincarnation Bridge, Ningcheng gave up on it. He had almost lost control of the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge. If he condensed the fifth Reincarnation Bridge here, he feared that he would end up making a wedding dress for someone else. Making a wedding dress for someone else was a trivial matter. Moreover, his life would also remain in the Grand Essence in Nether Realm. Ningcheng calculated the time. After he entered the Soul Bridge, half a month had already passed because of the Yellow Springs Bridge. Now that a month had passed, Ba Ming must have thought that he had fallen in the Nether Shadow Realm. From the looks of it, he would have to find another way to leave the Nether Shadow Realm. 16 Fruit. Ningcheng had just taken a few steps back when he saw a fruit tree. On a small gray tree that was only 3 feet tall, there were 3 grayish-white fruits growing alone. Ningcheng had refined the 16 soul pill before, so he naturally knew that these were the 16 fruits. The reason why Green Lady and Qiu Yuani came to the Nether Shadow Realm was to find this Dao fruit. The 16 fruit was a Dao Essence Dao fruit, so Ningcheng naturally wouldn't be polite. He directly took out a jade box and put away the 3 16 fruits. Ningcheng had just put away the 16 fruits when a man wearing a tall crown suddenly appeared not far from Ningcheng. He looked at Ningcheng in amazement before his eyes fell on the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge above Ningcheng's head in disbelief. Ningcheng's heart turned cold. He immediately took a few steps back and quietly stared at the man with the tall crown in front of him. He couldn't even protect himself here. If the other party attacked him, he would definitely die. Chapter 10:16. The crowned man's gaze moved from the fourth Yellow Springs Bridge to Ningcheng. and Ningqing saw a hint of fear in his eyes. Afraid of him? Ningqing was very puzzled in his heart, but he immediately understood. This was the Dark Nether Realm, where there was a strong suppression of the rules. Those with lower strength would be like Ba Meng, being oppressed by the rules to the point of being unable to resist. But now, he looked very relaxed, at least on the surface. There was also the extremely eye-catching Fourth Yellow Springs Bridge above his head, so the other party was afraid of him. Thinking of this, Ningqing became even calmer, and one could not see any panic in his eyes. At the same time, he began to carefully size up the man in front of him. He could not tell the man's age. He wore a green crown on his head, and his face was a little pale. Ningqing quickly discovered something different. This man's crown exuded a burst of Dao charm aura. Ningqing understood that this fellow's high crown had a similar function to his Yellow Springs Bridge, which was to offset part of the law pressure of the Dark Nether Realm. No wonder he was so calm even though he was wearing a green hat. This guy's green hat was not ordinary. Is this the fourth of the 7 bridges, the Yellow Springs Bridge? The man with the crown finally spoke. Ningqing showed a slight smile and nodded without any care. Yes, it is indeed the Yellow Springs Bridge. I'm truly impressed that the Yellow Springs Bridge has solidified to this extent. My name is Chu Chen. How should I address this Dao friend? The man with the tall hat even cupped his fists towards Ningqing. Ningqing deliberately exposed a vigilant look in his eyes, and did not answer Chu Chen's words. Since this person was afraid of him, then he would just let him be afraid of him. Ningqing did not want to send someone to report his name. Speaking of which, he was quite famous. If this guy heard of his name, it would not be a good thing. He had the 7 Bridges Divine Art, and everyone wanted the 7 Bridges Divine Art. Seeing the vigilance in Ningqing's eyes, Chu Chen did not care about it, and continued. Is this Dao friend here to look for the 6 fruit? That's right, I am indeed here to look for the 6 fruit. Ningqing did not deny it. The other party had already seen that he had obtained the 3 6 fruits. As such, there was no need to deny it. You have good strength. Are you interested in going to the depths of the Dark Nether Realm with me and joining hands to do something big? Chu Chen stared at Ningqing and spoke with a smile. Chu Chen's strength was definitely higher than his own. At a glance, Ningqing could tell that Chu Chen was coveting his 7 bridges. How could Ningqing team up with Chu Chen to enter the depths of the dark underworld? He flatly refused. I'm very sorry, I've already found what I wanted, and I want to leave. Unfortunately, I couldn't find the way out and ended up wandering around here for more than 10 years. You've been here for more than 10 years. Chu Chen was shocked. To be able to stay in the Dark Nether Realm for more than 10 years was quite amazing. The law pressure here was too strong. The longer one stayed, the more dangerous it would be. Ningqing gave a deep nod. Looking at his gloomy face, no one would believe that Ningqing had been here for less than 2 months. Chu Chen frowned as his gaze swept over Ningqing's body a few times before he spoke. You only have the 4th bridge? Ningqing's face sank, and the yellow river over the Yellow Springs Bridge started to churn once again. At the same time, bursts of Dao charm started to flash over the river. Since the other party was afraid of him, he had to put on an act. Dao friend Chu seems to be very interested in my Yellow Springs Bridge. Ningqing's voice carried a hint of coldness. Sure enough, when he saw Ningqing's Yellow Springs Bridge's Dao charm churning, Chu Chen quickly took a few steps back and stared at Ningqing with vigilance. Dao friend, please don't misunderstand. I'm saying that if you have the other bridges, you can enter the depths of the Dark Nether Realm to condense the 7 Bridges Spirit Technique. The best place to condense the 7 Bridges Spirit Technique is the Dark Nether Realm. Moreover, in the depths of the Dark Nether Realm, there is the most powerful 7th Reincarnation Bridge. I heard that to condense the 7th Reincarnation Bridge, one must go to this place in the Dark Nether Realm. Ningqing replied with a calm voice. No need, I've already finished condensing it. Although he looked calm on the surface, Ningqing had already started to think about how to go to the Dark Nether Realm to condense the 7th Reincarnation Bridge in the future. He didn't think that Chu Chen's words were false. Chu Chen had no reason to lie to him in this regard. It's just that he definitely wouldn't go there now. With his cultivation, once he entered the depths of the Dark Nether Realm, he would only be courting death. More importantly, He had to leave Chu Chen as soon as possible. This person was too dangerous. When Chu Chen heard Ning Cheng say that he had already condensed the 7th reincarnation bridge, he felt even more fear in his heart. If it were any other place, he would have already taken action. But in this place, he couldn't casually test a person with the Yellow Springs Bridge. Even if he doubted Ning Cheng's words, he didn't dare to try. The laws of the Dark Nether Realm were too powerful, and it would be very troublesome to escape from these laws. Once he was suppressed by the other party, he might not be able to escape from the other party's Yellow Springs Bridge. In fact, it's very simple to leave the Dark Nether Realm. As long as you are in a place where the laws are weak, you can give up all resistance to the laws and then use your own Dao charm to resist it. The Dark Nether Realm's laws of heaven and earth will directly teleport you away. Of course, the location of the teleportation is not very clear. Chu Chen seemed to want to ease the atmosphere between him and Ning Cheng, so he took the initiative to talk about a way to leave the Dark Nether Realm. Ning Cheng looked at Chu Chen with some doubts. He wasn't sure if Chu Chen was trying to harm him or not. Dao friend Chu, I heard from my friend that once the laws of the Dark Nether Realm are suppressed and blasted away, it's very likely that one would be crushed to pieces with their spiritual soul destroyed. Why did Dao friend Chu say that this is the way to leave the Dark Nether Realm? Chu Chen laughed. Your friend's cultivation shouldn't be too high, right? I'm sure your friend can't stand up in the Dark Nether Realm at all. With his cultivation, using my method would naturally be courting death. You and I are both people who can come and go at will in the Dark Nether Realm, so we can naturally use this rule. As long as we use nomological power to resist, we'll be swept away by the nomological power. He was even more suspicious of Ning Cheng. If Ning Cheng was truly powerful, then how could he have such a poor cultivation as a friend? Moreover, his own understanding of the Dark Nether Realm was very shallow. Many thanks, Dao friend Chu. Let's meet again if fate wills it, Ning Cheng said, before turning around to leave. He didn't know that this person's words had made Chu Chen even more suspicious of him. Seeing Ning Cheng leave, Chu Chen's complexion fluctuated for a while, as he became more and more hesitant in his heart. He not only feared that Ning Cheng could walk through this place as if nothing had happened, but he also feared the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge over Ning Cheng's head. The 7 Bridges' divine art was even more powerful in the Dark Nether Realm. He knew this very well. It was precisely because he knew that the 7 Bridges spirit technique was powerful and terrifying that he wanted to obtain the 7 Bridges spirit technique from Ning Cheng. If he could obtain the 7 Bridges spirit technique, then he could condense the 7 Bridges in the Dark Nether Realm. When he came out in the future, he Chu Chen. Moreover, if this cultivator with the Yellow Springs Bridge wasn't very powerful, then wouldn't he have made a fortune? Thinking of this, Chu Chen's heart grew more and more eager. He suddenly took a step towards Ning Cheng, and at the same time, opened his hands, and 2 dazzling lightning arcs blasted towards Ning Cheng. The lightning arcs blasted out, bringing with it a ripple of laws that completely locked down Ning Cheng's surroundings. At the same time, Chu Chen flicked his wrist, and a talisman stuck to his wrist. Once Ning Cheng's strength truly surpassed his, he would immediately escape with the talisman. Although a talisman was very precious, it was not as precious as the 7 Bridges spirit technique. Although Ning Cheng wanted to retreat quickly, his mind was always on guard against the green hat Chu Chen. He felt sure that his strength and Chu Chen's were worlds apart. Chu Chen only feared him because he was frightened by the Yellow Springs Bridge over his head. The moment Chu Chen made his move, Ning Cheng knew that it was going to be bad, but he wasn't scared. His heart sank. This fellow really wanted his 7 Bridges spirit technique. What made Ning Cheng feel slightly relieved was that this fellow was a thunder-attributed cultivator. Although these 2 lightning arcs were powerful, they couldn't kill him. According to Chu Chen's thoughts, after he brought out the 2 tentative lightning arcs, Ning Cheng would definitely use the futility bridge over his head to block his lightning arcs, and then counterattack. At this time he would be able to see through Ning Cheng's strength. Once Ning Cheng's strength surpassed his, he would immediately escape. If Ning Cheng's strength wasn't much higher than his, he would have gone all out. What made Chu Chen miscalculate was that Ning Cheng didn't resist his lightning arcs at all. Instead, he immediately put away the 4th Yellow Springs Bridge, and let the lightning arcs hit him. Catcha catcha. The two lightning arcs struck Ning Cheng's body, causing bursts of bone-cracking sounds. If someone else saw this, they would have thought that Ning Cheng was struck by lightning arcs. But only Ning Cheng knew that the two lightning arcs had limited damage to him. He was suppressed by the powerful laws here. If not for these laws, he could have refined these lightning arcs. Is this fellow a paper tiger? Chu Chen instantly understood, and his face turned even paler. He then rushed towards Ning Cheng without hesitation. At this moment, his heart was filled with regret. He shouldn't have probed. He should have directly grabbed Ning Cheng and searched his soul to refine it. After Ning Cheng took away the Yellow Springs Bridge, the powerful law pressure crushed Ning Cheng's bones. At the same time, Ning Cheng's body started to glow with the Tao charm of the laws of space. Just as Chu Qi said, the terrifying law power of the Dark Nether Realm crushed Ning Cheng's bones. After meeting Ning Cheng's Tao charm of the laws, it directly sucked Ning Cheng into the void and instantly disappeared. I hate it. Chu Chen stared at the void where Ning Cheng disappeared and clenched his fists. How could he just hate it? If he had to say something, he would definitely say it to the void that sucked Ning Cheng away. I once had a peerless opportunity in front of me, but I didn't cherish it. If this opportunity came again, the opportunity wouldn't come again. What he hated was not only that he didn't cherish this opportunity, but also that he personally told Ning Cheng how to leave the Dark Nether Realm. Although he knew that Ning Cheng would be crushed by the law power of the Grand Essence Dark Nether Realm after entering the void, he still felt endless regret and disappointment in his heart. Bang! A shadow slammed into a void airship, causing the airship's restrictions to shake. What's that? The blue-robed girl standing at the bow of the airship asked in surprise. A middle-aged man next to her had already swept out with his spiritual consciousness and replied, "It's a cultivator. This cultivator is seriously injured and should have lost his autonomy. As a result, he ended up crashing into our airship. This person's body is really tough. Even after being hit by our airship's restrictions, he didn't turn into pieces. This fellow really deserved it. He scared me." The blue-robed girl patted her chest and made a frightened look. The yellow-robed girl sitting at the bow of the airship sighed and said, "Since we met, let's save his life. Zhuozhong, bring that person here and let me have a look." "Yes, Mississippi." The middle-aged man quickly stepped out of the airship. In just a short time he caught up with the unconscious figure floating in the void. Then, with a wave of his hand, he grabbed the figure and landed on the bow of the void airship. Chapter 10:17. Miss, I'm afraid this person can't be saved. He seems to have been injured by rule force. All his bones are broken, and his essence spirit is unconscious. He has fallen into a state of chaos. I'm afraid. The blue-robed girl looked at the person Zhuozhong placed on the bow and shook her head. Zhuozhong didn't speak. Apparently, he had already seen through the situation. If it weren't for the Miss's instructions, he wouldn't have brought this person to the ship. Being injured by rule force was completely different from ordinary external injuries. After being injured by rule force, it was almost impossible to recover. In other words, the bones of the person he brought would definitely not be able to recover. What's more, would the essence spirit fall into chaos? In the best-case scenario, he would turn into an idiot after waking up. No, it should be said that after waking up, he would turn into an idiot with only broken bones. The yellow-robed girl also came over. She stepped down and placed her hand on Ning Cheng's forehead for a while before letting out a sigh. He was indeed injured by the power of laws. Zhuozhong, take him to the warehouse. After the ship goes ashore, find a place for him to settle down. It's fate that we met. This is all we can do to help. Yes, Mississippi, Zhuozhong responded and left with the people he had rescued. Miss, this person's sea of consciousness should be broken. I don't know where he went. The rule force is so powerful. The blue-robed girl saw Zhuozhong take the person away and spoke with some confusion. The yellow-robed girl pondered for a moment before speaking. This side of the void, there are too many strange things. We have to be cautious. Your cultivation has been stagnant. After going home, you will have to go into seclusion for a while. Seeing that the blue-robed girl was about to speak, the yellow-robed girl raised her hand and stopped her. Mo Yuan, I also have to go into seclusion for a while. Leave the business to my brother. With Zhuozhong's help, there shouldn't be any problems. The injured person placed in the warehouse by Zhuozhong was naturally Ningcheng, but Ningcheng was unconscious at this time. The warehouse was a storeroom in the void airship, and it was also the place where the airship's spiritual source was located. After Zhuozhong put Ningcheng in the warehouse, he immediately left. He didn't check Ningcheng's body. At this time, in Ningcheng's sea of consciousness, the mysterious yellow origin was scouring the sea of consciousness. After an unknown amount of time, Ningcheng opened his eyes. The first thing Ningcheng did when he opened his eyes was to stretch out his spiritual consciousness. He found himself in a void spaceship's warehouse. When he saw that there were still 7 cultivators in the flying ship, he was completely relieved. He should have been saved by the people on this flying ship. He was secretly glad that he had tempered his body again in the dragon cleansing pool. Otherwise, when he was blasted away by the powerful laws of the Dark Nether Realm, it would have been difficult for him to survive. Under that kind of law, there was no way to use magic treasures to resist at all. They could only use their physical bodies to resist. At this time, Ningcheng felt sure that Green Hat had lied to him. Leaving the Dark Nether Realm was not possible through the pressure of the laws. Even Tao Essence Divine Emperor would be crushed by the laws of the Abyssal Realm, as long as he wasn't a body refinement expert. Even if one could escape through this nomological pressure, only a sacred emperor at the primordial Tao and above would be able to do so. Speaking of which, did Tao integration stage holy emperors or chaotic essence holy emperors have to purposely be forced to leave by the laws? Green Hat truly was insidious. Previously, he thought that Ningcheng was strong, so he wanted to use this method to kill him. This fellow was simply black-bellied. The two of them had no enmity. Even if he killed Ningcheng this way, Green Hat wouldn't be able to get his treasures. Yet, Green Hat chose to do such a thing that harmed others without benefiting himself. Unfortunately, Green Hat would never have imagined that Ningcheng was a body refinement expert who had cleansed his body in the dragon cleansing pool. Moreover, he even had a full-circle starry sky body. Not only that, but his full-circle starry sky body was also tempered by the laws of the Dark Nether Realm. The combination of these factors allowed him to keep his life. Ningcheng took out a few medicinal pills and swallowed them. Whether his bones broke or his sea of consciousness injured, he didn't feel afraid. He was a body refinement expert with a starry sky body, and had the Empyrean consciousness transmutation pill. Even if his body was injured by the Dark Nether Realm's laws, he could refine these laws and transform them into physical strength. Half a month later, Ningcheng completely refined the laws that harmed his body. At the same time, his sea of consciousness, which had been damaged by the Dark Nether Realm's laws, also completely recovered. Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness fell into the true spirit world. Yanji was still in secluded cultivation, and didn't know about his injuries. Ningcheng felt slightly relieved, and started to condense his spirit essence. Although he almost lost his life in the Dark Nether Realm this time, his harvest was not bad. Not only did he successfully condense the 3rd bridge of forgetfulness, but he also condensed the 4th bridge of Yellow Springs. Moreover, his body forging cultivation had also reached the late stage of the starry sky body. Moreover, it was an enhanced version. As for the 316 fruits, it was a pleasant surprise. More importantly, he knew about the existence of the Grand Essence Underworld. The 7th Samsara bridge could only be condensed in the depths of the underworld. His current strength was still low. After he reached the 2nd step of Tao validation, and advanced to the primordial Tao, he would definitely make a trip to the Dark Nether Realm. After condensing his spirit essence in this warehouse for a few days, Ningcheng finally stood up and pushed open the door of the warehouse. He wanted to go out and thank the other party for saving him before leaving this void ship. You actually stood up? No, your cultivation has also recovered. This. A blue-robed girl came over and stared at Ningcheng with wide eyes, her face filled with disbelief. Ningcheng cupped his fists and said, "Many thanks, junior apprentice sister, for saving me." Ningcheng didn't know the age of this blue-robed girl, but she didn't look old. Plus, she was only at the late-stage eternal realm, so he simply addressed her as junior apprentice sister. The blue-robed girl quickly waved her hand. No need. After saying no, she rushed out. Ning Chung could hear her talking about her recovery from the inside of the cabin. Her exaggerated tone made Ning Chung wonder if she was an eternal-level Starry Sky Emperor. Many thanks, senior apprentice sister and elder brother, for saving me. Ning Chung walked up and thanked the yellow-robed girl with cupped fists. Did you really recover? The yellow-robed girl also stared at Ning Chung in shock. His corporeal body, which had been damaged by the power of laws, had not only fully recovered, but also in such a short time. It was simply unimaginable. Only the middle-aged man who brought Ning Chung back kept looking at Ning Chung. The shock in his heart was no less than that of the two girls. Ning Chung had to speak up again. It's because of my good luck that I refined my body. That's why I recovered so quickly. This yellow-robed girl had a delicate appearance and looked gentle and soft. After hearing Ning Cheng's words, she didn't ask any more questions, but her eyes still showed surprise. Ning Cheng also didn't explain anymore. If he hadn't tempered his body with the laws of the Dark Nether Realm, it would have been difficult for him to recover so quickly. Just when Ning Cheng wanted to say goodbye, the blue-robed girl suddenly called out in surprise, "Big Brother Su is here to pick us up." When the blue-robed girl said those words, Ning Cheng and the others also saw it. The yellow-robed girl rushed to the front of the airship with a look of surprise. Before the flight-type weapon in the distance could come over, she opened the restrictions. Seeing this, Ning Cheng had no choice but to leave the words of farewell behind. As soon as the airship's restrictions opened, a slender figure landed at the front of the airship. It was a young man with long hair and a late-stage Dao sculpting cultivation. From the looks of it, he wasn't weak. "Xiqian, you've worked hard this time. I'll accompany you next time." The man spoke in a gentle tone, with a hint of pity. The yellow-robed girl's face blushed slightly, but she still couldn't hide her joy. "Big Brother Su, every time I ask you to pick me up, it takes up a lot of your time." The man smiled and patted the yellow-robed girl's long hair. "Xiqian, you're talking nonsense again. What's there to delay between you and me? How this is?" As the man spoke, he saw Ning Cheng standing on the side and asked with some doubt. "My name is Ning Cheng. I was injured in the void. Many thanks to the two junior apprentice sisters and this big brother for saving me." Ning Cheng quickly stepped forward and cupped his fists. Since he was rescued, he naturally wouldn't use a fake name to fool people. "Yes, our airship saw him on the way. He was seriously injured at that time, and hit our airship's restrictions. Miss asked Zhuozhong to save him, and he recovered well. This has nothing to do with us," the blue-robed girl quickly said. When the long-haired man heard that he was rescued, he also cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng and said, "My name is Su Yan, and we're about to reach home. If Dao friend Ning doesn't mind, you can come to my Su clan's corner. Because I've been in seclusion, I really don't know where the Su clan's corner is," Ning Cheng said apologetically. He naturally saw that Su Yan didn't really want to invite him, but because the yellow-robed girl saved him, so he just casually said those words out of politeness. Ning Cheng said those words purely to inquire about the location. He wanted to know where the laws had sent him. After he said his name, Su Yan and the others didn't show any special expressions. Ning Cheng understood that they hadn't heard of him. This made Ning Cheng a little worried. He feared that after coming out of the Dark Nether Realm, he would be too far away from the Grand Essence Realm. If he was still in the void outside the Grand Essence Realm, he would have to ask for directions and leave. But if he left the Grand Essence Realm, he could only go to the Su clan's corner. At the very least, he had to figure out how to return to the Grand Essence Realm. The blue-robed woman spoke a lot. Without waiting for Su Yan to speak, she interjected. "The Su clan's corner is also a part of the Grand Essence domain. It's just that it's at the edge of the Grand Essence domain, far away from the big sacred cities." This blue-robed woman obviously thought that Ning Cheng came from the Grand Essence domain, and she didn't guess wrong. After Ning Cheng heard the blue-robed woman's words, he felt a little relieved and quickly said, "Then I'll have to trouble you. I want to go to the Grand Essence Sea, but I don't know if it's convenient to go through the Su clan's corner." When Su Yan heard that Ning Cheng wanted to go to the Grand Essence Sea, he hesitated for a moment before saying, "I'm afraid it'll be difficult." Although the Su clan's corner is in the Grand Essence domain, it's still a year away from the Grand Essence Sea. Because the Su clan's corner is too remote in the Grand Essence realm. It doesn't have a teleportation array. If Brother Ning wants to go to the Grand Essence Sea, you can go to the Broken Spear God City first, and then use the Broken Spear God City's airship to get there. Chapter 10:18. Then I'll have to trouble you. Ning Qing quickly thanked him with cupped fists. He decided to go to Su clan's corner first, and then head to Broken Thatch Spirit City from there. Su Yan was a very enthusiastic person, and spoke in a measured manner. He didn't even ask why Ning Qing got injured, or why he crashed into the void airship. Ning Qing also learnt that the girl in the yellow skirt who saved his life was Su Yan's fiancée. The girl in the yellow skirt was called Su Shiqian, and she represented Su clan's corner in doing business on the edge of the Grand Essence realm. The girl in the blue skirt was called Mo Yuan, and she followed Su Shiqian around. The middle-aged man who brought him back from the airship was called Zhuozhong, an early-stage Dao Birth Realm expert. He was also the person with the highest cultivation on the airship. Not far from the Grand Essence realm, there was a sizable planet called Isu Star. Isu Star was basically a primitive mountain range and forest. Many cultivators in the Grand Essence realm came to Isu Star to look for resources. Because of this, several large star cities were formed on Isu Star. Many chambers of commerce and clans on the edge of the Grand Essence realm chose to go to Isu Star to do business. Su clan's corner was such a small clan. They could easily leave the Grand Essence realm and enter the void. Similarly, Isu Star wasn't too far away. Su Shiqian was a kind person, and many merchants on Isu Star knew her. Therefore, she always represented her clan to do business on Isu Star. The airship pierced through the void and entered the Grand Essence realm. It didn't take long before it arrived at Su clan's corner. Su clan's corner was similar to what Ning Qing had imagined. It was surrounded by mountains and rivers, and the environment was very good. However, the spirit chi here was very average. Moreover, it was located on the edge of the Grand Essence realm, which made it not very safe. Many void demonic beasts would attack the interface from the edges. Very few would tear through the void from the center. The Grand Essence realm's laws were broken, and the boundary protection restrictions were very weak. They didn't even have the most basic blocking effect. Once a void beast attacked, Su clan's corner could only move forward and rely on its own defensive restrictions to resist. The patriarch of Su clan's corner was Su Shiqian's grandfather, Su Jian. Su Jian, like Su Shiqian, was very kind and enthusiastic. After knowing that Ning Qing was rescued by his granddaughter, he became even more enthusiastic towards Ning Qing. Not only did he bring out many spirit fruits, but he also invited Ning Qing to taste the famous dishes of the Su clan's corner. The wine and dishes in the Grand Essence realm all contained a powerful spirit chi aura. Therefore, many cultivators liked to go to restaurants, order a few dishes and a pot of wine, and then slowly savor it. This method of improving one's cultivation and enjoying oneself was very popular. It's just that after entering the Grand Essence ruins, Ning Qing rarely went to restaurants to eat these things. Using this kind of method to increase one's spirit essence, the speed was really too slow. After entering the Grand Essence ruins, the second Ning Qing had to struggle with all kinds of dangers. So how could he be in the mood to go to a restaurant and slowly savor these things? This time, he felt the Su family's passion and gratitude for saving his life. That was why he raised his cup to toast at the banquet. If Su Shiqian had not saved him, he might not have died. However, his chances of dying would increase by a lot. Not to mention the various meteorites and whirlpools in the void. Even if he encountered a powerful void demonic beast, it would kill him in one bite. Therefore, Ning Qing felt sincere gratitude towards Su Shiqian. Dao friend Ning is already at the late-stage Dao sculpting realm at such a young age. Your future achievements are bound to be limitless. Suji, and spoke up while accepting Ning Cheng's toast. No wonder he sighed. He had cultivated for so many years, but he was only at the late-stage Dao birth. Ning Cheng quickly said, Junior apprentice sister Shiqian's cultivation isn't any weaker than mine. Her future achievements won't be any lower than mine. Su Jian shook his head, picked up his wine cup, and drank it in one gulp. He didn't explain anything. Ning Cheng didn't want to continue talking about this, so he said, I heard that the largest sacred city in the Grand Essence domain is called the Heaven Essence Sacred City. All kinds of heavenly and earthly treasures are concentrated there, and many people come and go there. Not to mention the Heaven Essence Sacred City, there are many similar top-grade sacred cities in other parts of the Grand Essence domain. Why doesn't Su Clan's corner go to these sacred cities to do business? Instead, they want to leave the Grand Essence realm for the Isu star? This was indeed Ning Cheng's doubt, and Ning Cheng asked it intentionally. It stood to reason that Su Clan's corner's Suji, and hadn't heard of him. The only possibility was that Su Clan's corner had no intersection with the prosperous areas of the Grand Essence domain. Suji inside. It's not that we don't want to do business in those sacred cities, but we don't have the qualifications to do so. Not to mention that we can't afford the things in those sacred cities. Even the things we bring to them won't catch their eyes. Ning Cheng vaguely understood something in his heart. At this moment, a servant walked into the hall and bowed to Su Jian. A woman asked to see the patriarch. She said that she has something to discuss with you, and she's quite strong. Hurry up and invite her in. Su Jian quickly stood up and said. This made Ning Cheng understand Su Jian's way of doing things. He always treated people with kindness, and no matter what happened, he would always do it with the mentality of not offending anyone. Su Clan's corner's strength was indeed weak, but Su Jian's attitude wasn't wrong. After a while, the servant came in with a woman with a veil over her face. The woman didn't speak, but her gaze swept through the hall. Then her gaze fell on Ning Cheng. "Huh, you're here too?" Ning Cheng stood up and cupped his fists towards the woman. "Many thanks, senior apprentice sister, for saving me." This woman was called Ruoxi, and Ning Cheng happened to know her. Back then, the two of them teamed up to go to the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. If not for Ruoxi, He Yinji, and Shui Yueka would have all died in the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond. However, Ruoxi could only leave the hall because of his existence. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Su Shiqian and the others looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. Why did Ning Cheng get saved everywhere? Ruoxi's serious eyes flashed with a hint of a smile, and she waved her hand and said, "Your cultivation really shocked me. Apart from one person, I can't think of anyone who could advance to the Dao sculpting realm like you. Back then we helped each other, not one of us saved the other. Today, I came here to discuss something with Patriarch Su. Do you have the same purpose as me?" "No, I want to go to the Grand Essence Sea to have a look." Ning Cheng came here to see if he could reach the Grand Essence Sea as quickly as possible, and then go to the Dragon Washing Pool to cultivate for another 6 months before the 5 Realms Pill competition. Ruoxi smiled and didn't continue to talk to Ning Cheng. Instead, she said to Su Jian, "I have some private matters that I want to trouble Patriarch Su with. I wonder if Patriarch Su can have a private chat with me?" After that, she didn't wait for Su Ji and to refuse and directly took out a ring and placed it in front of Su Jian. "Take the things inside as a reward." Su Jian's spiritual consciousness swept through the ring, and his expression immediately changed. He quickly handed the ring to Ruoxi. "This Dao friend, I don't dare to accept these things." Ning Cheng knew that Ruoxi had a high cultivation, and the things she took out must have scared Su Jian. After all, this matter hadn't even started, and she had already taken out such frightening things. It would have been strange if the patriarch of a small family didn't panic. It doesn't matter. As long as Patriarch Su tells the truth, whether it can help or not, I will give you these things as a reward. Ruoxi didn't take back the ring. Su Jian's face filled with worry, and he turned his pleading eyes on Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng understood Su Jian's meaning. As the patriarch of such a small family, he wouldn't dare to accept things from others casually. The reason why Su Clan's corner could survive here most likely had something to do with Su Jian's kindness and cautiousness. Thinking of this, Ning Cheng chuckled and said, "Patriarch Su, you don't have to worry. This senior apprentice sister isn't someone who talks nonsense. How about this? I'll be your guarantor." Ning Cheng and Ruoxi had teamed up to go to the 9 Revolutions Sacred Dao Pond, so he knew Ruoxi's temperament. She was a person of principle and wouldn't vent her anger on others for no reason. Hearing Ning Cheng's words, Su Ji and could only put away the ring and said, "Then this Dao friend and Dao friend Ning, please come with me to the inner chamber." Ning Cheng was the guarantor and knew Ruoxi. Therefore, Su Jian's invitation didn't have any problems. Not waiting for Ning Cheng to refuse, Ruoxi nodded and said, "All right then, junior apprentice brother Ning can come with us." Su Ji and brought Ning Cheng and Ruoxi to the inner chamber and poured a cup of spirit tea for each of them before cupping his fists and asking, "Dao friend, you can speak your mind." He could feel that Ruoxi's cultivation was far stronger than his own. Although he didn't address her as senior, he still felt a little worried. Ruoxi also saw Su Jian's worries and casually said, "Patriarch Su, you don't have to worry. I just came here to ask one thing. I heard that Patriarch Su knows of a place with weak laws at the edge of the Grand Essence Realm. Is this place the only way to leave the Grand Essence Realm and enter a new positional plane?" Su Jian's expression suddenly changed when he heard Ruoxi's words, and he didn't speak for a while. Ning Cheng's heart moved, but he also didn't speak. He also wanted to know about this place. It was just like the graceful star mainland's Heaven's Way. In case he wanted to leave the Grand Essence Realm one day, this place with weak laws would be perfect for him. Ruoxi didn't seem to be in a hurry and waited quietly. The room suddenly turned silent. After a while, Su Jian stood up, bowed to Ruoxi and said, "Although I'm the patriarch, I can't make this decision alone. Can I ask this Dao friend to wait for a while?" Ruoxi nodded. "It's fine. Patriarch Su, please help yourself. Junior apprentice brother Ning Cheng, and I will wait for you here for a while." After Su Jian left, Ning Cheng raised his hand and activated several restrictions before asking, "Senior apprentice sister Ruoxi, don't you have an opening heaven talisman's child talisman? If you want to leave this interface, can't you just use that child talisman?" Ruoxi sighed. "I was soft-hearted and lent that child talisman to someone else. Now, I can't leave this place by myself. If I still can't find a way to leave this place, I might have to ask you to borrow that child talisman." Ning Cheng said with some helplessness, "You saved me in Yanji, so I don't mind lending you a child talisman. It's just that the child talisman on me isn't mine, but a friend of mine. Even if I lend it to you, you have to tell me how to return it to me in the future. Are you really willing to lend it to me?" Ruoxi's eyes flashed with surprise. She had just casually mentioned it. How precious was the opening heaven talisman's child talisman? Who would be willing to lend it to others? Ning Cheng smiled. "Let's not talk about me lending you the child talisman. Tell me, you don't know many people in the Grand Essence Realm. Nor do you have any friendship, right? Why would you lend the opening heaven talisman's child talisman to someone else?" Chapter 1019. Ruoxi replied with some helplessness. "It's the daughter of an old friend. He helped me a lot in the past, and since his daughter ended up in the Grand Essence Realm, I couldn't help him. Besides, they even wanted to leave the wood origin bead with me, so I had no way to refuse." "What?" Ning Cheng almost grabbed Ruoxi's hand in excitement. Fortunately, he still managed to keep his wits about him and asked in a trembling voice, "You mean the wood origin bead? In your hands?" Ruoxi looked at Ning Cheng in doubt. The wood origin bead was indeed a top-grade treasure, but it shouldn't be this shocking. Ning Cheng took in a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. He then cupped his fist towards Ruoxi and said, "Senior apprentice sister Ruoxi, I urgently need the wood origin bead. If the wood origin bead was with you, I would be willing to exchange anything with you." Ruoxi showed a slight smile. "First, the wood origin bead isn't with me. To make me believe it, they took out such a precious treasure and left it with me. In fact, how could I have the nerve to let them leave something with me? Second, even if the wood origin bead was with me, I wouldn't be able to exchange it with you. It's someone else who left it with me. It's not my own thing." Ning Cheng sat down in disappointment. "I was a bit reckless." Then he asked again, "What's the name of the person with the wood origin bead? Where is she?" Ruoxi, seeing Ning Cheng's anxious look, said, "Her name is Tian Muan. I don't know her, but you'd better not have any ideas about her. No one can afford to offend the friend beside her. Even the Tao Perfection cultivator from the Void Star sect whom you saved can't afford to offend. Believe it or not, it's up to you. Besides, I've also seen Tian Muan's wood origin bead. It's just a broken half of the bead. The value of the other half of the bead is much weaker. When Ningcheng heard Tian Muwen's name, he immediately understood what was going on. Ningcheng also knew the blue-robed woman beside Tian Muwen, who had saved the two of them once. Ningcheng sighed and touched his nose. He didn't expect that the other half of the bead would be with Tian Muwen. Since the wood origin bead was with Tian Muwen, it would be difficult for him to obtain it. If it was someone else, he could use a large number of God crystals. If God crystals didn't work, he could use God spirit veins. If God spirit veins didn't work, he could use Dao fruits. If Dao fruits didn't work, he could use Dao pills, Dharma treasures, cultivation techniques. There would always be something that moved the other party. However, none of this had any effect on Tian Muwen. If he really did this, it would only increase the gap between the two of them. Moreover, facing Tian Muwen, he did not know how to open his mouth and ask for it. It looks like you already know what I did. Ningcheng spoke in a somewhat dejected tone. Ruoshi smiled faintly. You made such a name for yourself at the Pill Exchange Conference, and even saved a Dao Perfection powerhouse from the Void Star sect. If I didn't know about it, then I would have wasted my time in the Grand Essence domain. After hesitating for a while, Ningcheng took out a jade box and handed it to Ruoshi before saying, "This is my child talisman. I'll lend it to you for the time being. You have to tell me how to return it to me in the future." Ruoshi not only saved him but also saved Yanji. As such, Ningcheng did not hesitate to lend her a child talisman. Ruoshi, on seeing Ningcheng really take out the child talisman for her, felt a trace of emotion in her eyes. She had also worked with Ningcheng a few times. As such, she also had some understanding of Ningcheng's character. The reason why she saved Ningcheng was because the two of them were cooperating, and she really appreciated Ningcheng's character of repaying kindness. I'm really embarrassed about this. When I saved your friend, I even took a bottle of Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills. Ruoshi felt a little embarrassed. Ningcheng chuckled. The value of a bottle of Empyrean consciousness transmutation pills is far less than a sacred essence fruit. For Yanji's aptitude to improve to this level, Ningcheng knew very well how useful the sacred essence fruit that Ruoshi had given him was. Even if Yanji's foundation was damaged again, the role of the sacred essence fruit was irreplaceable. He did not have that kind of precious foundation Dao fruit. Okay, then I'll accept it. I live in the sacred Dao world's goddess sacred shrine. I only heard that it was a realm separated from the absolute beginning realm after it shattered. But after I go back, I might not go to the sacred Dao world. Instead, I want to go to the Grand Change realm. I heard that you will represent the 5 realms in the pill competition, and we will most likely meet in the Grand Change realm. I will return it to you then. Ruoshi put away the child talisman Ningcheng lent her, and spoke in a sincere tone. Ningcheng nodded. He had never been to the sacred Dao world, but he had heard about the shattering of the absolute beginning realm. He knew that the laws in this place were no less broken than the Grand Essence realm. In fact, it was even more broken. At this moment, Su Jian walked over, and Ningcheng raised his hand to remove the restrictions once again. Ruoshi received Ningcheng's child talisman, and felt much more at ease. Even if Su Ji and didn't want to tell her where the location was, she didn't care. Su Ji cupped his fists and said to Ruoshi, "Although I don't know where this Dao friend got the news, I asked the 2 Dao friends not to spread this matter." After saying that, Su Ji handed a jade strip to Ruoshi with both hands. Ruoshi took the jade strip and nodded cautiously. "Patriarch Su, you can rest assured that we won't tell anyone about this." Su Ji said gratefully, "Many thanks, 2 Dao friends." He also sighed in his heart. He had already taken out the jade strip, but the other party didn't say anything. It was just a form of psychological comfort. Since the other party knew that the Su clan knew about this location, then someone else would know about it in the future. The Su clan's corner was too weak, and they couldn't afford to offend anyone. Ruoshi saw Su Jian's worries and smiled. "Although I know about it, it doesn't mean that others know about it. Patriarch Su doesn't have to worry." After saying that, she looked at Ningcheng. "Junior apprentice brother Ningcheng, if you have nothing to do, you can come with me. If you have something to do." Ningcheng had long wanted to leave, so he quickly said, I'm fine. I'll leave with senior apprentice Sister Ruoxi later. After saying that, Ningqing took out 2 jade bottles and handed them to Su Jian. Patriarch Su, here are 2 medicinal pills to repay junior apprentice Sister Shiqian for saving us. I can't accept it. Su Jian quickly declined. Ningqing knew about Su Jian's cautious character and smiled. It's just 2 worthless medicinal pills. It's just a token of my appreciation. Seeing Ningqing speak in such a manner, Su Jian could only accept Ningqing's medicinal pills and take the initiative to send Ningqing and Ruoxi out of Su clan's corner. Grandpa, I feel that senior apprentice sister's cultivation level is very high. Su Shiqian, who stood next to Su Jian, whispered after seeing Ningqing and Ruoxi walk away. Su Jian sighed. It's more than high. If I'm not wrong, that woman is probably at the 2nd step of Dao confirming. So strong? Su Shiqian's mouth opened wide with a look of shock. That Ningqing is quite grateful. He even gave me 2 medicinal pills before leaving. After saying that, Su Jian put 2 jade bottles in Su Shiqian's hands. You can keep them. He didn't even look at the medicinal pills. Ningqing only had a Dao sculpting cultivation, so the medicinal pills he gave were naturally only for his granddaughter. Su Shiqian responded casually, took out the jade bottle, and immediately exclaimed in shock, "Miraculous crossing Dao pill, how is this possible?" The miraculous crossing Dao pill was refined from the Dao fruit miraculous crossing sunset fruit. It was a Dao pill that enhanced Dao sculpting Holy Emperor's comprehension of the Dao raising Dao. The value of one was immeasurable. The reason why Ningqing gave this medicinal pill was for Su Shiqian. What? Su Jian could no longer maintain a calm attitude. He grabbed the jade bottle in Su Shiqian's hand and scanned it with his spiritual consciousness. Sure enough, it was a miraculous crossing Dao pill. He closed the jade bottle as quickly as possible and spoke with a trembling voice. Hurry up and take a look at the other one. Without waiting for her grandpa to speak, Su Shiqian opened the other jade bottle and spoke with a trembling voice. Purple heaven pill. This time she didn't need her grandpa to teach her, and took the initiative to close the jade bottle. The purple heaven pill was a Dao pill that could help one comprehend the Dao transformation realm. It was even more precious than the miraculous crossing Dao pill. More importantly, only a Dao transformation pill sage could refine such a medicinal pill. Moreover, there were only a few Dao transformation pill sages in the entire Grand Essence realm. Ningqing had given out 2 such Dao pills at once. It was truly a huge gesture. Su Jian took a deep breath. Shiqian, the person you saved is definitely a very remarkable person. Maybe because my Su clan's corner doesn't have any dealings with the Grand Essence domain, we don't know about this person. Grandpa, should I inquire about him? Su Shiqian's tone also sounded a little excited. She ran business for the Su clan all year round. How could she not know the value of these 2 Dao pills? Su Jian shook his head. No, don't inquire about this kind of person. From now on, I'm going into seclusion to attack the Dao transformation realm. With this purple heaven pill, I have a good chance of advancing to the Dao transformation realm. You also have to work hard in seclusion, and try to use this miraculous Dao crossing pill to reach the Dao raising realm. Yes, Grandpa. Su Shiqian's tone revealed how much she wanted to advance to the Dao nurturing realm. Her qualifications had always been top-notch. Unfortunately, her Su clan's corner couldn't compare to the big clans in the Grand Essence domain. Wanting a Dao pill was harder than ascending to the heavens, not to mention the precious Dao pill Ningqing gave her. Ningqing and Ruoxi had already arrived at a canyon filled with miasma. The divine grasses here were scarce, and with the miasma spreading everywhere, it made it impossible to cultivate. This was the place shown on the map given by Su Jian. It should be here. Ruoxi stopped and handed the jade strip in her hand to Ningqing. Senior apprentice Sister Ruoxi, are you leaving now? Is everything over here? Ningqing asked. Ruoxi nodded. Yes, I've been out for a long time and have to go back. I'll try not to use this child talisman of yours. If I really can't go back, I'll use the child talisman. If there's a chance, we'll meet in the Grand Change realm. After saying that, Ruoxi took a step forward. But just as she was about to fall into the canyon, she suddenly remembered something and turned back to Ningqing. Ningcheng, a lot of powerhouses have come to Broken Thatch Spirit City recently. You've offended too many people, so you'd better change your appearance when you go to Broken Thatch Spirit City. I know. Ningcheng nodded. Even if Ruoshi hadn't mentioned it, he would have changed his appearance if he wanted to go to Broken Thatch Spirit City. Ruoshi took out a talisman and activated it, causing the laws of space to immediately turn chaotic. After a few breaths, she brought out the 9-petal lotus throne and blasted it into the chaotic space. Thin spatial ripples appeared in the canyon. Ruoshi raised her hand and tore it, and her figure disappeared without a trace. Chapter 1020. The most powerful person in Su Clan's corner was naturally Su Jian, but the most capable person was Su Jian's granddaughter Su Shiqian. In recent years, the businesses of Su Clan's corner were all controlled by Su Shiqian. Under Su Shiqian's careful management, the Su Clan's corner had accumulated some cultivation resources. Otherwise, the strength of Su Clan's corner would be much worse than it was now. This time, after Su Shiqian returned, she decided to go into seclusion. Therefore, the business of the Su Clan's corner was handed over to Su Shiqian's brother, Su Hui. After the family meeting, Yan Jinqing's face darkened as he asked Su Hui, "Brother Hui, do you know why grandfather asked little sister to go into seclusion and hand over the business to you?" Yan Jinqing was Su Hui's wife. Her aptitude was slightly inferior, but because she stayed in the Su Clan's corner to cultivate in seclusion, she didn't need to run around like Su Shiqian. Therefore, her cultivation was not inferior to Su Shiqian's, and she had also succeeded in sculpting her Dao. Su Gui looked valiant, but his long face and thin eyebrows ruined his valiant appearance, making him look gloomy. Su Hui frowned slightly when he heard what his wife, Yan Jinqing, said in a rough voice. "All these years, Shiqian has been running around outside while we've been cultivating at home. Now that Shiqian is going into seclusion, I, as her elder brother, naturally have to take over the business of Su Clan's corner. Could it be that I can still hand over the business of Su Clan's corner to outsiders?" Yan Jinqing sneered. "The business of the Su Clan's corner is suppressing us, and I don't have much opinion about it. It's just that Grandpa is very unfair this time." "How is it unfair?" Su Gui asked, staring at Yan Jinqing. Yan Jinqing took a deep breath. "Do you know what Ning Cheng, who was brought back by Shiqian, gave to Grandpa?" "What is it?" Su Hui asked subconsciously, completely distracted by Yan Jinqing's words. Yan Jinqing's spiritual sense carefully swept out, and then whispered, "It's 2 Dao pills, one is the purple heaven pill, the other is the miraculous crossing Dao pill." "What?" Su Gui looked at Yan Jinqing in disbelief and repeated, "You mean the violet heaven pill and the miraculous crossing Dao pill?" Yan Jinqing rolled her eyes at Su Gui. "Keep your voice down. Yes, these are the 2 Dao cores. When Grandpa and little sister sent off that Ningcheng, I happened to hear it." Su Gui had already calmed down. He stared at Yan Jinqing. "Grandpa is a Dao birth final stage holy emperor. Even if I don't mention Grandpa, little sister has been running around outside all these years. She shouldn't be so ignorant. How could she let you hear these words? Plus, Ningcheng is just a Dao molding divine emperor. Why would he take out the purple heaven pill? What are you trying to do?" Yan Jinqing bit her lip. After a while she spoke up. "How could Ning City have such a pill? I don't know about it. I left a monitoring array disc outside. I wanted to make my Su Clan's corner safer, but I didn't expect to accidentally overhear it." Su Hui said coldly, "Jinqing, you didn't leave behind a surveillance array disc, did you? Immediately put away all these monitoring array discs." Yan Jinqing said aggrievedly, "Yes, Brother Hui. I'm just feeling unfair for you. You are the next patriarch of the Su Clan's corner. He also had the miraculous crossing Dao pill, but he actually gave it to Shiqian and forgot about you." As she said this, Yan Jinqing had completely forgotten where her cultivation resources and time had come from all these years. Su Hui's expression was somewhat ugly, but he did not answer Yan Jinqing's question. After Ning Cheng sent off Ruoshi, he disguised himself as a middle-aged male cultivator with a face full of vicissitudes and arrived at Broken Thatch Spirit City. Rogue cultivators with a face full of vicissitudes and a void aura were everywhere in Broken Thatch Spirit City at the edge of the Grand Essence realm. Therefore, Ningqing didn't stand out at all. Arriving outside Broken Thatch Spirit City, Ningqing finally understood why this city was called Broken Thatch Spirit City. The broken spear was stabbed diagonally outside Broken Thatch God City. It looked very strange. The exposed part of the spear was more than 100 feet long, and its entire body was mottled. Although it had been a long time, when Ningqing saw this half-broken spear, he could still feel a faint hostility emanating from it. Ningqing quickly retracted his spiritual consciousness. This kind of hostility definitely had no benefits for cultivation. Once the hostility invaded his sea of consciousness, he wouldn't be far from cultivation deviation. People came and went outside Broken Thatch Spirit City, but few people would use their spiritual consciousness to scan the Broken Thatch Spirit City outside the city like Ningqing. Just as Ruoxi said, Ningqing saw a lot of powerhouses here. Not to mention many Dao Birth and Dao Transformation Holy Emperors. Ningqing even saw 1 or 2 Dao confirming second step Dao Essence Holy Emperors. Ningqing didn't stay in a rest stop, nor did he take the airship to the Grand Essence Sea. Instead, he went straight to a merchant house. Since he had the Starry Sky Wheel, his speed definitely wouldn't be any slower than those airships. Since Broken Thatch Spirit City didn't have a long-distance teleportation array, he might as well go to the merchant house to buy a route map and head to the Grand Essence Sea alone. You said you want to go to the Grand Essence Domain, or the Grand Essence Sea. Do you want to go to the Grand Essence Domain alone? The shop assistant looked at Ningqing in disbelief. Although Broken Thatch Spirit City also belonged to the Grand Essence Domain, few people regarded it as the Grand Essence Domain. When it came to the Grand Essence Domain, it usually referred to the depths of the Grand Essence Domain, not the edge of the Grand Essence realm. Ningqing asked in confusion. Yeah, what's wrong? The shop assistant was relatively honest and explained. This friend, I don't have a detailed route to the Grand Essence Domain, but I do have a simple map. I suggest that you take a void ship instead of going there alone. Why? Ningqing was even more puzzled. If he did not take the airship, then he would at most be a bit slower. The shop assistant sighed and said, if it was really that simple, then Duanmao God City's void flying ships wouldn't be able to find any business. From Broken Thatch Spirit City to the Grand Essence Domain, one had to pass through the Grand Essence Demon Vein and the Grand Essence Sea. The Grand Essence Demon Vein stretched for hundreds of millions of miles. Moreover, it contained countless powerful spirit beasts. If an ordinary person tried to cross the Grand Essence Demon Vein, it would be akin to courting death. It would take them a few months to cross the Grand Essence Demon Vein and the Grand Essence Sea. The place where the Grand Essence Sea and the Grand Essence Demon Vein meet is also desolate and uninhabited. If you want to pass through this Grand Essence Sea, it's also filled with many dangers. For most people, passing through this place is no different from courting death. Ningqing sucked in a mouthful of cold air. He had thought that it would only be a long journey. He had never thought that there would be such a dangerous journey in between. How did Ruoxi come over in the first place? Why didn't she mention the dangers? Ningqing quickly understood that Ruoxi must have thought that he knew about it. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said that he had to change his appearance to enter Duanmao God City. Moreover, she didn't feel much surprise when he said that the purpose of going to Duanmao God City was to return to the Grand Essence Domain. Seeing Ningqing not speaking, the shop assistant tried to persuade him again. Those void airships have fixed routes. Moreover, they have negotiated with the powerhouses of the Grand Essence Demon Vein. Even so, many void airships have died to the Demon Vein spirit beasts for various reasons. Therefore, the price of going to the Grand Essence Sea or the Grand Essence Domain is very high. Ordinary people simply can't afford it. Ningqing finally understood why no one in Su Clan's corner knew about him despite his great reputation. Many thanks. Since you don't have a detailed route map, can you give me a directional map? Ningqing said with a smile. Since there were too many people buying the directional map, the shop assistant didn't say anything and took out a jade strip and handed it to Ningqing. After getting the directional jade strip, Ningqing was just about to walk out of the merchant house when he suddenly remembered something. He looked back and asked again, Excuse me, why did Duanmao God City have so many powerhouses recently? Ningqing didn't know if Duanmao God City was like this or not. But he asked this question because of what Ruoxi said. The shop assistant smiled and took out another jade strip. In half a month, Duanmao God City will hold an auction. This jade strip contains some auction items. If this friend wants to go to the auction, you can buy one. Ningqing hadn't participated in the Grand Essence Realm's auctions, but he had participated in the Grand Essence Realm's trade fairs a few times. Ningqing didn't care about these auctions because there were just too many of them. He asked casually, Duanmao God City probably holds auctions often. Do so many people come every time? The shop assistant shook his head. Of course not. The reason why so many powerhouses are attracted this time is mainly because of the 5-element chaos chi that will appear in this auction. I want to buy a jade strip from the auction. By the way, what is the 5-element chaos chi? Ningqing immediately bought a jade strip when he heard about the 5-element chaos chi. He had never heard of the 5-element chaos chi, but his mysterious yellow bead was closely related to the 5-element origins. As long as it was related to the 5 elements, he would always inquire about it. The shop assistant, seeing Ningqing's kind attitude, started to talk even more. The 5-element chaos chi is a precious treasure comparable to the origins. It's very difficult to gather the 5 elements. If you can gather the 5-element chaos chi, I heard that it can upgrade a cultivator's miniature world to a true spirit world with very high laws. It can even become a 5-element world second only to a primal chaos world. Seeing Ningqing listening carefully, the shop assistant continued to talk. The 5-element chaos chi can not only improve a world, but it also has a strong effect on alchemy and artifact crafting. Even if you don't use it, you can use it for your own cultivation. It's the best cultivation resource. It's much better than those Dao fruits. Ningqing's heart grew hotter the more he listened. His mysterious yellow bead lacked a part of the wood origin. Using wood origin crystals to fill it was just a drop in the bucket. If there was a wood-attributed chaos chi, could it replace that half of the wood origin bead? The 5 Realms pill competition was just around the corner. According to Ningqing's original idea, he wanted to send Yanji to Jiangzhou Star. But he didn't expect that he couldn't repair the teleportation array. According to Ruoxi, the 5 Realms pill competition would be held in the Grand Change Realm. What if the Grand Change Realm's heaven and earth laws were too strong, and someone found out that he brought Yanji to the Grand Change Realm? May I ask what the 5-element chaos chi is being auctioned this time? Ningqing asked eagerly. The shop assistant also saw Ningqing's interest and said with a smile, it's the earth-attributed 5-element chaos chi. Although he was sure that Ningqing wouldn't be able to afford it even if he went, he felt that he had succeeded in making his customers so eager. Chapter 1021. Ningqing felt a little disappointed in his heart. If it wasn't wood-attributed chaos chi, it wouldn't be of much use to him. If the chaos chi is so precious, why auction it in Broken Thatch Spirit City? Wouldn't it be more valuable if we went to Grand Essence Domain's Heaven Essence Sacred City? Ningqing asked. In fact, this wasn't what he was thinking about. He wanted to ask who sold the chaos chi and where they got it. The shop assistant smiled. I heard that the person who obtained the earth-attributed chaos chi leaked the news. He also knew that he couldn't take it away, so he decided to sell it in Broken Thatch Spirit City. This is the edge of the Grand Essence Realm, and no powerful holy emperors would come here. Therefore, many people want to try their luck. Ningqing nodded. This shop assistant was right. This was the edge of the Grand Essence Realm. The 10 major sects and some Dao fusion powerhouses were too far away from here. Not to mention whether they could get the news. Even if they did, they might not be able to come in time. Without so many powerhouses, ordinary holy emperors would have a lot more opportunities. Then who was so careless? Who leaked the news? Let everyone know where it came from. Ningqing asked. This was what he wanted to know the most. The shop assistant shook his head. Although I know that the person leaked the news, it's not something I can know. I suggest you don't ask about it. Just ask where it came from. It's not good to let others hear about it. The person who obtained the chaos chi definitely isn't simple. Ning Cheng smiled, cupped his fists, and thanked the shop assistant before leaving the merchant house. The jade strip he bought from the shop assistant was quite detailed. Not only did the jade strip contain most of the treasures to be sold, but it also contained the name and location of the auction house. The auction was held by a very famous chamber of commerce on the border, Lebao Chamber of Commerce. The auction was held on the first floor of Lebao Chamber of Commerce, Lebao Divine Hall. There were many things on the jade strip, but only the chaos chi of the 5 elements caught Ning Cheng's eye. Ning Cheng didn't plan to participate in the auction. It made no difference to him whether he participated or not. What he wanted to know was, where did he get the earth-attributed chaos chi? Lebao Divine Hall's aura couldn't compare to Heaven Essence Sacred City's Pill Union. Moreover, even if Ning Cheng arranged the defensive array formation outside, it wouldn't be any worse. I have something to put up for auction, and want to find the person in charge of the Chamber of Commerce. Ning Cheng entered the Lebao merchant house, and immediately pointed out the purpose of his visit. Sure, but you'll have to wait for the next auction in 3 months. This auction is fully booked. The one who received Ning Cheng was a female cultivator from the Lu Treasure Pavilion. Although she spoke politely, she did not hesitate to reject Ning Cheng. Who was he trying to deceive? Ning Cheng took out a jade box and placed it on the table. I want to auction a Dao transformation Dao fruit. If I really can't put it up for auction in half a month, I will look for the next one. Hearing the 2 words Dao fruit, a yellow-bearded old man sitting in the corner of the room suddenly raised his head, and his gaze shot towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng remained calm. He had already seen that the yellow-bearded old man was the one in charge of this house. Moreover, the female cultivator who spoke to him was only at the late-stage eternal realm. This yellow-bearded old man was at the late-stage Dao transformation realm. Dark night, go out. Leave this to me. The old man stood up. Yes. The female cultivator who refused Ning Cheng quickly bowed in response and carefully retreated. After the female cultivator retreated, the yellow-bearded old man walked up to Ning Cheng, put his hand on the jade box Ning Cheng took out, and asked, "May I have a look?" This yellow-bearded old man felt a little strange. Ning Cheng only had a Dao sculpting cultivation, and seemed to be a rogue cultivator in the starry sky. Logically speaking, such a cultivator should be afraid of him if he put a Dao transformation Dao fruit up for auction. However, he couldn't see even the slightest fear from Ning Cheng. One could even say that Ning Cheng only felt calm. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. Please. He naturally wouldn't fear a Dao transformation Holy Emperor. If they really fought, he had full confidence that he could kill this yellow-bearded old man in front of him. He didn't have anything to fear. The yellow-bearded old man opened the jade box and then closed it again. Although his expression remained calm, he felt shocked in his heart. Ning Cheng looked like a late-stage Dao sculpting Holy Emperor, yet he could take out a grand nullification divine fruit. It was a Dao fruit derived from a Dao transformation Holy Emperor's lore-related spirit technique. Although it wasn't a top-grade Dao transformation Dao fruit, it was at least a mid-grade Dao transformation Dao fruit. What he lacked the most right now was this grand nullification divine fruit. I'm Lebao Divine Hall's auction manager Enai Jing. May I ask if this Dao friend wants to auction this Dao fruit? Enai Jing put down the jade box again, and asked with cupped fists. He didn't ask about Ning Cheng's origin. Some guests were afraid of this, but as the auction manager, he naturally knew about it. Ning Cheng showed a slight smile. I don't have to auction this Dao fruit. If the price is right, I can sell this Dao fruit to Lebao Divine Hall now and let you auction it. However, I have an additional condition for selling this Dao fruit. Enai Jing nodded. If there was no condition, then he would have some doubts about selling a grand nullification divine fruit to Lebao Divine Hall for no reason. Everyone knew that selling it like this was completely different from selling it at an auction. Enai Jing didn't speak. He just waited for Ning Cheng to state his conditions. Ning Cheng knocked on the grand nullification divine fruit, as if to remind Enai Jing that he was knocking on a Dao transformation Dao fruit. After knocking for a while, Ning Cheng spoke up casually. I heard that Lebao Divine Hall has 5-element chaos chi for sale this time? Enai Jing replied with a calm expression. According to the guest who came to auction it, it's 5-element chaos chi. I've never seen this thing before, but judging from the natural restriction and the aura within it, the guest who put it up for auction didn't speak nonsense. If nothing unexpected happens, it is indeed 5-element chaos chi. You didn't check it? Ningqing asked in surprise. And I Jing smiled. This guest must be joking. This thing isn't easy to open for inspection. Ningqing didn't ask again. He guessed that it was a natural restriction. After Lu Bao Divine Hall opened it, it couldn't restore it. I would like to ask, where did this guest obtain the earth attribute chaos chi from? This is my additional condition. Ningqing spoke directly. Facing an old fellow like Ni Jing, no matter how he tried to be tactful, the other party could guess his thoughts. Therefore he might as well ask. Ni Jing showed a faint smile on his face. Apparently, he had already expected Ningqing's question. This Dao friend, because many people have asked about this matter, the guest who obtained the earth-attributed chaos chi also made a jade strip of the location he obtained and participated in the auction. Ningqing felt that there were many people who thought the same as him. Steward and I, can you sell the location jade strip to me, and I'll give you this Dao fruit as a reward. I believe that even at the auction, no one would bid higher than this. Ningqing knew that the location was about to be auctioned, so he didn't plan to take the great nullification divine fruit. Ni Jing shook his head. I believe this Dao friend. If you put it up for auction, a location jade strip is indeed not worth a Dao transformation Dao fruit. What I want to tell this Dao friend is that there are a total of 10 jade strips for this location auction. Ningqing's expression turned a little ugly. Steward and I, do you mean that even if I buy the location jade strip now, someone else will know the location like me after the auction ends? Ni Jing spoke with some embarrassment. The latter part of your statement is correct, but the former part of your statement is wrong. You can't buy this location jade strip now because we promised the person who sent it. The 10 location jade strips must be sold at the auction. Even if someone offers a higher price, we will not allow them to be sold in advance. Ningqing's heart thumped. He had experienced too many things. What was the purpose of sending things for auction? More than 90% of people would send things for auction with the sole purpose of getting more spirit crystals. In layman's terms, it was to get a little more money. Now, no matter how high the price the other party offered, they wouldn't sell it in advance. There was only one reason. The person who sent the jade strips had the same purpose as him. Ningqing's purpose was to know where the earth-attributed chaos chi appeared, while the other party's purpose was to let more people know about the location of this place. If the 10 location jade strips with earth-attributed chaos chi were auctioned, it would most likely turn into tens of thousands of pieces overnight. It might even become known to the entire Broken Thatch Spirit City. This must be intentional, but what did the person who sent the jade strips want? Ni Jing didn't say anything. Since Ningqing understood it, he naturally understood it as well. However, the purpose of the auction was not to care about this. As long as the auction could earn spirit crystals, it had nothing to do with the auction. Ningqing silently put away the grand nullification fruit. Since it was a conspiracy, did he need to waste a grand nullification fruit? Although he knew that Ni Jing only told him this because he wanted him to take out the grand nullification fruit. Otherwise, Ni Jing wouldn't have said these words. Seeing Ningqing put away the grand nullification fruit, Ni Jing's eyes finally showed some changes. This Dao friend, if you don't need this grand nullification fruit for the time being, I suggest you take it out for auction. You will get more cultivation resources suitable for your realm, and maybe you can succeed in the Dao birth realm in a shorter time. Ningqing put the jade box back on the table and spoke with a slow voice. Dao friend and I, if you can show me the location jade strip, I will give you this Dao fruit. Ni Jing didn't expect Ningqing to be so bold. After knowing that there might be a conspiracy, he still dared to buy the jade strip. He naturally understood why Ningqing addressed him as a Dao friend instead of a steward. It was to remind him that he was also a cultivator. This reminder wasn't wrong. Apart from working in the Lu Bao Chamber of Commerce, he was also a cultivator and had to consider his own cultivation resources. At this moment, Ni Jing fell silent. Ningqing saw that Ni Jing didn't speak and knew that he was hesitating. So he simply said, "Could it be that Dao Friend Ni's previous words were a lie? That there was no such thing as making 10 jade strips? Jing angrily grabbed a jade strip and raised it before saying, "How could I lie to you? Isn't this a jade strip? I can't show you this jade strip. My Chamber of Commerce pays particular attention to credibility. Since I've promised the guest, I won't go back on my word. I won't sell it to you in advance." Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness thorn instantly broke through the restriction on the jade strip in Jing's hand and read the contents of the jade strip in just a few breaths. Then he said in a cold voice, "Since it doesn't work, then forget it. Goodbye." Not knowing if Ning Cheng was too angry or for other reasons, he didn't take the jade box containing the grand nullification fruit with him when he left. Jing walked over to the place where Ning Cheng stood and rolled up his robe sleeves. The jade box disappeared without a trace. There were some things that needed to be tacitly understood. Everyone understood this. However, he secretly felt shocked at Ning Cheng's powerful spiritual consciousness. In just a few breaths, Ning Cheng obtained the contents. Previously, he thought that Ning Cheng would need at least a dozen breaths to do it. But Ning Cheng didn't even need 2 breaths. Chapter 1022. 5 Elements Planet. This was the name of the planet that Ning Cheng saw written on the jade strip. 5 Elements Planet was an ownerless planet outside the Grand Essence realm. No one knew what was going on with this planet, but it had suddenly appeared out of nowhere. This planet that suddenly appeared was discovered by a lucky cultivator. As a result, he found the Earth-attributed primal chaos chi on this planet. Even the name Planet 5 Moons was given by the cultivator, who obtained the chaotic energy. According to the information Ning Cheng read from the jade strip, the 5 elements star had been floating in the void for too long, causing the concealment star protecting Grand Array outside to shatter, which led to its discovery. The directions were clearly engraved on the jade strip. Even the location of the Grand Essence realm and how to get there were clearly marked. To be honest, the reason why Ning Cheng wanted to use a Dao transformation Dao fruit to exchange for the information on this jade strip was that he wanted to take a look at it in advance. There was still half a month before the auction. If he went there half a month earlier, he might be able to obtain the 5 elemental chaos chi first. If he could really obtain the 5 elemental chaos chi, not to mention 1 great nullification divine fruit, even if he had to take out all of his great nullification divine fruits, it would still be a huge profit. But after seeing the contents of the jade strip, Ning Cheng hesitated. Previously, he had guessed that this was a conspiracy. As for why the cultivator who obtained the 5 elemental chaos chi would do this, it was most likely to be to fish in troubled waters. In Ning Cheng's opinion, it should be because of the difficulty in obtaining the 5 element primal chi. Therefore, he wanted a lot of people to take the lead. After the others got rid of the threats around the chaos chi of the 5 elements, it was easier for him to succeed because he had a more detailed direction and target. As for what kind of threats he would have to face if he wanted to obtain the 5 elements of primal chaos chi, it might be an array formation or even a demonic beast. However, Ning Cheng didn't care about it. But now Ning Cheng realized that he had made a mistake. Since the 5-element primal chaos chi was accidentally discovered on an ownerless planet, it meant that no one else could have seen it. The only exception would be if there were a few people in the group. If there were a few people in the group, then as long as one of them did not die, they would not wait for the cultivator who obtained the chaos energy to come and sell the map. They weren't idiots. Why wouldn't they earn this kind of money? If this cultivator was the only one left in the team, then it would be even more impossible for him to reveal the location. Such a secret had been leaked out, and everyone knew about it. The only explanation was that it was intentional. Since it was a trap set up by others, should he still go over? Ning Cheng hesitated in his heart. He suspected that Jing also knew about this matter. Perhaps the Lu Bao merchant group had participated in this plot as well. Ning Cheng rubbed his somewhat messy hair. He knew that he had suffered a loss this time. It was very likely that the old fox Jing had schemed against him. Jing knew that even if he saw the contents of the jade slip, he would not dare to go over. Should I go or not? Whether he went or not, Ning Cheng had already secretly left the broken thatch spirit city. He once again changed his appearance to that of a family disciple before returning to the broken thatch spirit city. Since the Lubao Chamber of Commerce might get involved in this, Ningcheng would not let himself be under the surveillance of the Lubao Chamber of Commerce. The second time, Ningcheng had just walked to the entrance of Broken Thatch Spirit City, when he met two acquaintances, a man and a woman. Ningcheng remembered that the man was called Su Hui, and should be Su Shiqian's elder brother. In the Su clan's corner, Su Ji, and had once held a family banquet, and at that time, Su Hui was also present. Ningcheng had also seen a woman standing next to Su Hui. She should be Su Hui's wife, Yan Jinqing. The Su clan's corner wasn't far from the Broken Thatch Spirit City, so Ningcheng didn't care about Su Hui and Yan Jinqing appearing in this place. Whether he had changed his appearance or not, Ningcheng had no intention of greeting this Su Hui. Ningcheng deliberately bypassed the Su Hui duo and walked into a small rest stop. After sitting down in the rest stop's lobby, he ordered a cup of spirit tea. He was still considering whether to go to Five Elements Planet. The reason why he chose this rest stop was because he wanted to hear what other cultivators thought about the upcoming auction. At this time, the entire Broken Thatch Spirit City was probably talking about the 5-element Chaos Chi and the upcoming auction. This kind of news could be heard in any rest stop. Ningcheng had only drunk half of his cup of spirit tea when he saw Su Hui and Yan Jinqing walk into the rest stop. But this time, it wasn't just the two of them. A middle-aged man followed behind them. The middle-aged man's cultivation was higher than Su Hui's, early-stage Dao birth. Seeing the expressions of the few people, Ningcheng's heart moved, and his spiritual consciousness fell on Su Hui. After a while, the Su Hui trio entered a private room and activated a restriction to isolate Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness. This time Ningcheng didn't hesitate. Using his spiritual consciousness thorn, he directly broke the restriction of the private room and took a glance inside the room. Not to mention that this small rest stop's restrictions were rubbish. Even if the array formation restrictions here were a few grades higher, they wouldn't be able to block Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness thorn. This wasn't just because Ningcheng had obtained the Dark Nether Spirit Devourer, which greatly enhanced his spiritual consciousness attack. More importantly, Ningcheng's attainments in the Tao of array formations were too high. He could clearly tell from where his spiritual consciousness should sweep in. Big brother, what's going on? Why didn't you go to the Su clan's corner? Why did you let us come to Broken Thatch Spirit City? The first to speak was Yan Jinqing, and she sounded a little unhappy. Only then did Ningcheng realize that the middle-aged Dao birth Holy Emperor, who followed Su Huiyan, was Yan Jinqing's elder brother. The middle-aged man said in a deep voice, Su Hui, the Su clan will be yours sooner or later. You don't have to do it now. If Su Ji and doesn't let you control the Su clan in the future, we will naturally help. Su Hui frowned but didn't speak. He just swept his gaze towards Yan Jinqing. Why did he want to control the Su clan? He felt that this was a good time. Controlling the Su clan was not a good thing. Yan Jinqing quickly said, Big brother, I asked you to bring people to help restrain Su Hui's grandfather, and that's Zhong. It's not to control the Su clan, but for something else. The middle-aged man waved his hand. No matter what it is, it's not as important as this. The Su clan's corner won't run away. I will help you in the future. Now I called you to Broken Thatch Spirit City. If we succeed, we are likely to reach the second step of Tao confirming. It's not impossible to surpass the second step in the future. What? Hearing this, Su Hui and Yan Jinqing immediately forgot their purpose of coming here and looked at the middle-aged man eagerly. Not to mention surpassing the second step of Tao confirming. Even if it was the second step of Tao confirming, how many people could reach it? Su Hui asked even more eagerly, Big brother Pengjin, what is it that will allow us to reach the second step of Tao confirming? The middle-aged man put up another restriction. Unfortunately, no matter how many restrictions he put up, it was useless under Ningcheng's spiritual consciousness. After putting up the restriction, the middle-aged man named Pengjin whispered, Do you know about the upcoming auction in Broken Thatch Spirit City? Su Hui nodded. I know. I heard that Earth-attributed primal chaos chi has appeared. But what does it have to do with us? With our ability, it's impossible for us to obtain this primal chaos chi. Pengjin snorted. to compete for the primal chaos chi at the auction. Even if my Yen clan and your Su clan combined, we still wouldn't qualify. I'm talking about the place where the primal chaos chi appears. I know about it. If we can't bid for it, we can look for other primal chaos chi. Peng Jin's news once again excited Su Hui and Yan Jinqing, and their faces turned red with excitement. Even Ning Qing couldn't help but focus. Did this middle-aged man also know about Planet 5 Elements? According to the news I got, the 5-element primal chaos chi is on a Planet 5 Elements not far from the Grand Essence realm. This news will be auctioned off in half a month, so we can go to Planet 5 Elements ahead of time. I called you over for 2 reasons. Firstly, you're my family, and secondly, we can work together. Peng Jin whispered. When Ning Qing heard this, he almost crushed the cup in his hand. That old bastard in I Jing, he really didn't wrongly accuse him. This fellow had secretly leaked the news about Planet 5 Elements, and even said that he couldn't sell the jade strip in advance. This old cunning fellow sold him out. Yet he still helped him count the money. He had used a Dao transformation Dao fruit in exchange for a useless piece of information, and not even a jade slip. Ning Qing guessed that in this old fellow's eyes, Ning Qing was just a clown. Ning Qing's anger quickly dissipated, and he sighed in his heart. Compared to these best actors, he was still a bit worse. But since he wanted to auction the jade strip, why did he leak the news in advance? Then what are we waiting for? Let's hurry up. Yan Jinqing stood up in excitement. Her elder brother, Peng Jin, spoke up in a deep voice. Our strength is still too weak. We need to find more people to help us. Since that person took out the location for auction, it means that the place is a bit dangerous. He can't get it alone. After that, Peng Jin seemed to remember something from before. He looked at Yan Jinqing and asked, You just said that you want me to bring a few people to Su Clan's corner. Isn't it for Su Hui? Then why? Yan Jinqing whispered. A mysterious guest came to Su Clan's corner. He casually gave a purple heaven pill and a crossing Qi Dao pill to Su Hui's grandfather, Su Jian. I'm afraid that Su Shiqian would waste these 2 pills, so I want to take them back for Brother Hui. What? This time, it was Yan Jinqing's elder brother's turn to be shocked. He immediately asked eagerly, Where is the mysterious guest who gave the pills? Don't have any ideas about that mysterious guest. Although he's just an ordinary Dao molding divine emperor, he has a very powerful friend. I suspect that he's at the second step of Dao confirming. I just want to get the 2 pills he sent to Su Clan's corner, and give them to Brother Hui. Yan Jinqing quickly said. Peng Jin said with hatred, You're really stupid. With Su Hui's sister's cultivation, it would take at least many years to use up this pill. We don't need to be in a hurry at all. The one in a hurry is that mysterious guest. His friend is powerful. Is he going to stay by his friend's side for the rest of his life? As long as he separates from his friend, wouldn't we be able to kill him easily? Su Hui and Yan Jinqing glanced at each other. Only now did they understand such a simple truth. They never thought of it. Chapter 1023. Ning Qing sneered. Even if he and Ruoshi separated, he could still kill these 3 fellows with just a flip of his hand. Ning Qing despised Su Shiqian's elder brother Su Hui. This kind of person was really shameless. He had talked with Su Shiqian and Su Yan before. Therefore he knew that the business of the Su Clan's corner had always been managed by Su Shiqian, while Su Hui and Yan Jinqing were in closed-door cultivation. Not only were Su Hui and Yan Jinqing not grateful for Su Shiqian's efforts, they even coveted the pills in his possession. Putting that aside, Su Hui was still Su Shiqian's brother. How could he be so shameless? Seeing that Su Hui and Yan Jinqing understood, Peng Jin did not continue to speak. Instead, he waved his hand and said, Let's put this matter aside for now. Since that person is related to Su Hui's sister, we can still find him through her. Yes, we have to hurry to Planet 5 Elements now, Yan Jinqing quickly said. There's no hurry. I still have to invite 2 friends, and then we'll go to Planet 5 Elements. Peng Jin said in a deep voice. Ning Qing did not continue listening, and decided to go to the 5-element planet first. Since he and Yan Jinqing's brother knew about the incident on Planet 5 Moons, there must be other people who knew about it. When he arrived at Planet 5 Elements, there was no need for him to go in. He would hide at the side and observe the situation. Just as Ning Cheng was about to leave the rest stop, Su Gui and the others also came out. It seemed that they had finished their discussion. When Su Hui and the other two walked past Ning Cheng casually shot out a few spiritual consciousness imprints and placed them on the three of them. Whether there was a conspiracy or not, the location on the jade slip was not wrong. The 5 elements star did exist, and it was really hidden by an array formation. If Ning Cheng didn't know that there was a hidden planet here, he might have overlooked it in a hurry. The defensive array around the concealed planet was indeed a top-grade natural defensive array. Ning Cheng, as an array formation master, could naturally see the power of this concealment grand array. Moreover, this concealment array was indeed a natural array, but a corner of the array was broken. It was precisely because a corner of the concealment array was broken that someone was able to discover it and enter. Ning Cheng stood not far from the broken corner of this natural concealment grand array, and hid himself completely. Knowing that this 5-element planet was a conspiracy, Ning Cheng naturally would not rush in. Just observing it for a few breaths of time, Ning Cheng's face immediately filled with shock. He had yet to enter Planet 5 Elements, but he could feel a kind of aura emanating from the corner of the concealment array. This kind of aura was somewhat similar to the aura of the mysterious yellow origin, but it was completely different. Compared to the aura of the mysterious yellow origin, how could it be simple? The only explanation was that the contents of the jade slip he exchanged from Lu Bao Shenlu was real. There really was 5 elemental chaos chi here. Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness didn't sweep into Planet 5 Elements. Instead, he hid in the void outside Planet 5 Elements, and arranged a void concealment array around him while waiting for Su Hui and the others to arrive. His invisibility technique could hide him from Su Gui, but it couldn't hide him from some Dao transformation or primordial Dao experts. Since he had decided to stay here, he had to hide well. With the invisibility formation and invisibility technique, unless a Dao Essence Divine Emperor specifically searched for him, they wouldn't be able to find him. A day later, Ning Cheng had already finished arranging the concealment defensive array, while the first batch of people finally arrived. It wasn't Su Gui and them, but 3 people Ning Cheng had never seen before. 3 Dao Actualization Divine Emperors. In a place with many sects and Grand Essence Domain, 3 Dao Actualization Divine Emperors weren't much. But in a place like this, 3 Dao Actualization Divine Emperors were considered powerful. The 3 soon arrived outside Planet 5 Elements, and stood at a corner of the concealment grand formation. It's really pure primordial chaos chi? One of the female cultivators said in shock. Clearly, they felt the same aura as Ning Cheng. The other 2 were just as excited as the female cultivator. A green-robed man standing next to the female cultivator said in a hoarse voice, "It's not pure primordial chaos chi. Lu Bao Merchant Union is right. It's indeed 5 elemental chaos chi. This is 5 elemental chaos chi formed after Xiantian primordial chaos chi fused with the laws of heaven and earth. This 5 elemental chaos chi is no less valuable than Xiantian primordial chaos chi. Then what are you waiting for? Let's go in now and do as we agreed. There's mist inside. Let's be careful." The 3rd Dao Actualization Divine Emperor stepped into the concealment star protecting grand formation. The other man and woman glanced at each other before rushing in. After the 3 of them entered, Ning Cheng's spiritual consciousness carefully swept in behind the 3 of them. However, Ning Cheng's spiritual sense instantly retracted. The 3 disappeared without a trace as soon as they entered. The entire 5 Elements planet was shrouded in white mist. No matter where his spiritual sense landed, it was the same. Sure enough, 5 elemental chaos chi was good, but in this case, should he still go in? Another day later, Ning Cheng didn't see the 3 come out at all. Not only did he not see the 3 come out, but he also saw a second group of people come in. This group also wasn't Su Gui's group. Just like the 3 people who had entered before them, this group of people disappeared without a trace after entering. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. If he hadn't heard Peng Jin's words, he would have gone in just like the others. At most, he would have taken a more cautious attitude. But now he didn't want to go in. 5 elemental chaos chi was good, but he needed to be alive to enjoy it. Ningqing waited here until the 4th day before Su Gui's group arrived. Before this, Ningqing had seen 5 groups of people go in, but no one came out. Su Gui's group consisted of 5 people, 2 at the Dao Birth Realm and 3 at the Dao Sculpting Realm. From his observations over the past few days, Su Gui's group of 5 was the weakest. As expected, the 5 people disappeared as soon as they entered Planet 5 Elements. Ningqing had left a spiritual sense imprint on Su Gui and Yan Jinqing's group before. Therefore, he could vaguely feel that the 3 people had entered the depths of Planet 5 Elements. What surprised Ningqing was that the 3 people didn't go in the same direction. In less than half an incense stick's worth of time, only one spiritual sense imprint remained. And this spiritual sense imprint also stopped, perhaps because it felt the danger. It simply stayed in place and did not move. 9 days passed in a hurry. Ningqing decided to wait for another day. If no one came out, he would leave. This place was too dangerous. Many people had gone in over the past 9 days, but he had never seen anyone come out. He even saw a Dao Essence Holy Emperor go in, but no one came out. No matter how conceited Ningqing was, he wouldn't think that even a Dao Essence Holy Emperor wasn't as good as him. More importantly, he had Yanji and Sun Hanrui with him. Sun Hanrui hadn't woken up yet. If he died on Planet 5 Elements, then Yanji wouldn't survive. This friend, if you don't go in now, the auction will soon sell a lot of 5 Elements Star Jade strips. At that time, more people will come here, and with more people, someone will eventually find the 5 elemental chaos chi. Although it's safe to stay outside, it's not a good idea. A smiling voice appeared in Ningqing's ears, and a man in brocade robes stood not far from Ningqing. Ningqing felt shocked. Had he been discovered? But soon he understood that he had been discovered. This man in brocade robes was staring at the place where he was hiding. Ningqing sighed and put away the concealment array formation. He knew that it wasn't that his concealment array formation wasn't good, but when he set up the concealment array formation, someone had already set up a concealment array formation here. In other words, this man in brocade robes had the same idea as him. It was just that he came later, while the other party came first and naturally knew that he was hiding. This incident reminded Ningqing that he had been too careless. If he had been more careful and checked the surroundings first, he wouldn't have ended up like this. Fortunately, this man in brocade robes looked like a middle-stage Dao birth cultivator, so Ningqing didn't take him seriously. This Dao friend, since we've seen the same thing, why don't we team up and go in? The man in brocade robes smiled and cupped his fists towards Ningqing when he saw Ningqing come out. Ningqing replied with a calm voice. You saw so many people go in and not come out, yet you still want to go in? Dao friend, you really have some guts. The man in brocade robes chuckled. What is an opportunity? In addition to luck, opportunities also depend on courage. If you are afraid of the future, I'm afraid that you will miss the opportunity even if it is right in front of you. It's just like the 5 elemental chaos chi in front of us right now. If you don't dare to go in and take it, it would be a huge loss. What if you can't come out after going in? Is an opportunity more important? Or is your life more important? Ningqing asked. The man in brocade robes didn't chuckle this time. Instead, he laughed out loud. If you can't come out, it means that you don't have an opportunity. If you don't have the heart to pursue the strong, you will never become strong. Ningqing's expression changed immediately. He had not taken the man in brocade robes seriously, but he hadn't expected this fellow to be so courageous. My name is Jing Shihua. If I don't come out, remember to burn an incense stick for me, haha. After the man in brocade robes finished speaking, his figure flashed and he entered 5 Elements Planet. Ningqing took in a deep breath. He had indeed hesitated just now. Because of Yanji, if he died, Yanji wouldn't survive either. Since Yanji was willing to die with him, even if Yanji wasn't here, the result would be the same if she learned of this in the future. Thinking of this, Ningqing no longer hesitated and decided to enter 5 Elements Planet. However, he still had to make some preparations before entering 5 Elements Planet. Ruwashi had borrowed the child talisman of the opening heaven talisman, but he still had a few boundary-breaking talismans. Ningqing didn't know if the boundary-breaking talisman could break through the interface of 5 Elements planet, but he didn't intend to gamble. He planned to use the same method he had used to break into the Severing Emotions Dao sect, using a teleportation array. He was an array Dao grandmaster. If he didn't use his expertise, it would be a waste of his many years of studying the Dao of array formations. After arranging a transfer array outside 5 Elements planet, Ningqing then entered 5 Elements planet. 5 Elements planet was covered in a white mist, just as Ningqing had seen with his spiritual consciousness. What surprised Ningqing even more was that before he entered 5 Elements planet, he could still feel a powerful aura similar to the mysterious yellow origin. However, after he entered, he could no longer feel this aura. But just a moment later, he sensed another aura that was even more distinct. It contained a strong 5-element attribute, which made his spirit essence and body become active. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.